We've been drinking this whole time.
You are now listening to the Geeky Robots podcast.
Great Scott!
Hello, Geeky Army, and welcome to episode 5 of the Geeky Robot podcast. I'm Brenton, and I'm joined by
Ryan
and
Maui.
And we have a lot to talk about because Endgame is here.
You know, what seems so weird is that it felt so far for so long.
And now it's here.
And it passed.
And now it's over.
Oh
and we've seen it. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Leave a comment below if you're on YouTube, and visit our website and connect with us on social media. I'm still filling in for Media Mike. He's got lost in the Dakotas. We haven't really heard from him in days.
Do we know which one?
We don't. He didn't know which. He couldn't tell us. He didn't know which Dakota he was going to.
Wow, he's real lost. Isn't there a country called Dakota?
Don't worry. I've sent a picture to the milk factories of Dakota to put his face on the boxes. So hopefully, some milk drinking Good Samaritan in one of the Dakotas will find him and get him back to us soon.
He got lost in the snappening.
Maybe he did. Maybe I should put his picture on Snapple. Okay, so let's get into it. We're gonna.
Wait, I'm kind of upset Snapple didn't do anything now.
Oh my gosh, you're so right.
That's such a missed opportunity.
Why didn't they? Why didn't they make a yellow?
Like something with all the Infinity Stones and you collect them all?
Oh my gosh.
Like a different flavor for different colors.
And there's only half of the liquid in each bottle.
They just market it that way. They're just saving money.
Oh my gosh. Snapple. Next time. Well, there's no next time.
Hire us for your next.
Yeah, let us be your marketing team for any kind of next event, because this is a huge missed opportunity. Well, main event, Endgame. Endgame is the culmination of 10 years of a journey. And when you see this movie, you will know that the Marvel and the Russo brothers have rewarded you for taking the entire journey. Because the amount of emotion that they put in this movie, it is a roller coaster of emotion, different types of emotions, and the fan service, and just the content of this movie is so rewarding. It is the cherry on top of what is Phase 3. And I want to dive into this, you guys, with this, Maui. What are you feeling? You know, we just saw it maybe 2 days ago, and we're still digesting it. I need to see it a second time.
I'm shook. I'm not okay. I'm still processing. It's going to take a lot of months for me to fully process what I saw. I'm emotional. I'm sad. I'm happy. I'm all these different types of emotions. Overall, fantastic film. Not a perfect film, but fantastic film.
Well, what did you think about how they executed really the character directions of post the snapping? You know, they really kind of dove into the what these characters were feeling. Do you think that was handled well?
I thought it was handled very well. I feel like practically every single character, all the loose ends all got tied for every single character. Every single character got some type of resolution of some kind. So I thought that was awesome.
You really feel like how, I don't want to say destroyed. Well, kind of. You just feel the emotional impact of what happened.
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever been to a funeral, or you've ever been to a room where something bad happened, and it's just like there's this awkward tension in the air. I felt that, like in the scenes where they dove into really how these people are coping, how these people are moving forward, because really, you know, Infinity War left us at a stage where we're at a loss. The heroes have lost, and Endgame starts off with, where do we go from here? And I think that it's very interesting how they were able to dive in, and you're able to almost feel that tension that, oh my gosh, like they're out of hope. There is no hope. There is no faith. They're just kind of going through the motions of trying to build a new path.
You never been, like you said, like at a funeral or something really bad happens to a friend, and there is no words you can say to make them feel better. But you kind of just you see them and you give them the half smile and the nod, or you look at the ground. Like, that's how I felt. Like, I just wanted to go up to the characters and say something that would almost make their day better, you know. But I know there's nothing I could have said to help them cope with the loss of half the life in the entire universe.
Yeah.
So they did a really good job in bringing that emotional element to this movie. Yes, Maui.
And I just want to say that this movie is literally the definition of what it means to be a movie fan. Watching it was definitely an experience. And I don't really say that about a lot of movies, but let me tell you, the movie theater that we saw it in, from beginning to end, people were literally jumping out of their seats in excitement. People were crying out loud. People were laughing. People were cheering. It was so much fun watching it with all these other people at the same time. And you kind of just feel like this movie since it is the culmination of all these different movies, you kind of feel like we're all in this journey together. We're all lifelong fans, or we've been fans for like 10 or 11 years of these movies. All of us sitting together at the movie theater, having fun with one another. I kind of felt like as I was sitting, I turned over to my friend and I was like, man, I kind of feel like I'm about to go on a ride or something, or a roller coaster. That's exactly how it made us feel. This movie is what it is to be a film fan. This is why you go to the movies, to see movies like this. So I had so much fun watching it.
Yeah, I felt that a lot too, because, I went to a theater where there wasn't reserved seating. So I had to be there 5 hours before. At first I was really upset because I was like, why did it, it was an IMAX AutoNation, one of the only official IMAXs in the state of Florida. They don't have reserved seating, so you just got to make the line and suck it up. However, you meet such interesting characters. They had booths for Florida SuperCon and another con that's coming up also, a little IndieCon in Miami. These people were walking around in cosplay. The people in front of you and behind you. You start talking with them, and they tell you how they started, how old they were when they watched the first Iron Man, how old you were, and everyone kind of developed this relationship up until the point where they open the line and everyone runs in, and then coincidentally you're next to each other. You're like, oh hey, we made it. And kind of like in Infinity War, there were moments, like when Captain America first showed up in Infinity War and Thor showed up, that people, clapped and things like that. So in Endgame also has a lot of these moments. And I remember like the first time, like I screamed and then I stopped because I was like, oh my gosh, I feel bad. I'm in a movie theater. Mm-hmm. But I was drowned out by everyone else screaming. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, we're good. Like, I'm just going to keep screaming. And that was... Throughout the entire theater, it was just as the movie progressed, there was more of these moments where people were like, oh my god, like literally clapping, and like people didn't even know how to like express themselves. Yeah. And I think that was one of the most amazing things to be able to live through. Yeah.
It's this movie, there are very few movies I would say should only be watched in the theater. And this is one of them. Mm-hmm. You can watch it on DVD and you can watch it at home and you can have your giant sound system. Mm-hmm. But imagine you went to your favorite sports team, whether it be, since we're in Miami, we like the Dolphins, right?
Or the Miami Heat.
Or the Heat. And you were the only person in the crowd. How great would it be if when they made a three-pointer that you're the only one going, yeah! No. It's when the crowd stands up in excitement and everybody's cheering when he makes that game-winning shot, right? Endgame is Marvel's game-winning shot. And you need to see this in the theater to experience it in a pack, basically, in an audience, in a theater. And whether it's the most expensive theater you've been to or a tiny little theater, as long as you're surrounded by people that have been like-minded in this entire experience of these past 10 years, you will have an unforgettable experience. Because I guarantee you, nobody will ever do what Marvel has accomplished with Endgame ever again. We will always compare everything from this point forward to Phase 1 through 3.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't, and going in with the comparison, think about what Endgame brought to the table. If you removed, and that's the beauty of Endgame, that's the beauty of what the Russo brothers did. If you remove any of the pieces of this 22 movie journey, it's not the same.
Correct.
Because they tied everything together.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's what gives it that weight. That's what gives it the density of a story, is the fact that you have 22 supporting movies. You knock out, let's just say, okay, we had to do this in 6 movies. It wouldn't be the same. 10 movies wouldn't be the same. You built up 22 movies to this point.
They basically took a Netflix series and put it in the theaters. You know, like they told the story as long as they needed to get to these last 2 movies, these part 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And it paid off.
And one of the lines that's in the trailers, so, you know, not a spoiler, is when Hawkeye tells his daughter, all right, you made the shot. Now we got to see we know the destination. You just have to know where to get there. And I feel that embodies from the moment Iron Man came out. Okay, we know where we want to get to. We know the fact that we want to create an amazing story. Now it's just the journey. And that's what they did with every single film, is they created this journey and built all these pieces and put them together and said, okay, we're going to get to this destination. And they made it. At the end, they hit that bullseye. Yeah,
but it's because they took the path to get there. They spent the time. They spent the effort. And once you see Endgame, you can go back to all these movies and say, oh, that's why they did that in Endgame. You know, this one movie that I didn't really think was that great or wasn't a big blockbuster has this huge impact in this epic of a tale. And it was just so well put together. Now, this movie has its plot holes here and there, and it has its down, you know, its slower parts. But as a whole, I'd be shocked if this movie doesn't win some kind of award.
Oh, it needs to. I would be upset.
I would be upset, right?
Yeah, I would just denounce like the whole Academy.
No, seriously, like it literally hasn't. What movie category do you put Endgame in when it comes? You know, best movie that took 22 years to make? Like, what? There's
everything. And listen, even the performance of these actors, you can tell they stepped it up.
Yes.
To the point where it was like, they knew this is the end game. They knew that this is their story, and this is that cherry on the top of their story. And I remember I was looking, and I'm like, these guys' performances, and to put the drama and the weight of different scenes, they delivered a performance that gave me goosebumps. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so real. Like, I can feel the pain. I can feel the anguish. I can feel all these things. And I was just sliding in my seat like, oh my gosh.
But, you know, part of the reason you feel all that is because you've been through it with them and watched it go, you know, watched all the movies and saw the progression. So, yeah, you feel what they feel. And they're just acting out what you and I and Maui already feel. You know, we feel that hate for Thanos. We feel for what he did, and we feel for like he needs to be beaten.
Well, I mean, there's no really hate for Thanos. He was trying to do the right thing.
Okay. Well, no. I understand. I understand that, but I understand that you think, you know, most people do. Like, he didn't have a bad, I mean, I don't want to say it wasn't a bad idea, but he thought he was doing the right thing.
Yeah. Have you ever,
from the proper perspective, you can say, yeah, there is a lot of overpopulation.
Yeah. Have you ever been in a traffic jam? You just like wanted to snap and have half the people and be like, can you imagine if half the cars were in this traffic jam right now?
I agree. That's what I'm saying, in the right perspective. If you're in line at Disney trying to wait 4.5 hours to get on Toy Story, you're like, I wish I had a gauntlet. Yeah. But after waiting only 2. Okay, so that's pretty much the non-spoilers, because it's impossible to talk about this forever without giving spoilers.
I think we've done a really good job talking, like 12 minutes?
Yeah, basically.
And not spoiling anything?
Yeah, I think and I can't really hold on much longer. So let's right now non-spoiler rating. Let's give it the non-spoiler rating. Okay. So my non-spoiler rating, I want to give it a 10. I really want to give it a 10. There are parts that I think might be a little plot hole. Oh, okay, I'll give it 9.5. All right. That's my non-spoiler rating.
I'm going to give it a 10.
Yeah?
10 out of 10. Honestly, I'm going to compare every other movie to this.
Yeah?
Yeah. No, like from a scale of like The Room to
Endgame. Really low scale.
To Endgame.
Like, The Room. Oh, you mean that movie with hi, Ma.
Yes.
Okay.
Like, on a scale of The Room to Endgame. That's where all my movies are going to fall in. Until something, something could dethrone Endgame. I'm not going to close the door to that, but... Or dethrone the room.
Yeah, they could dethrone the room. Yeah. All right, what do you think, Maui?
I think this movie's fantastic. I can't stop thinking about it. I don't know where it lands in regards to best Marvel movies. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I just feel like it's too soon, and I feel like I'm still processing information. So maybe I'll say 9 or 9.5 because no movie is absolutely perfect. But yeah, that's just how I feel.
Except Empire Strikes Back. And Back to the Future 1.
And Godfather.
And Endgame.
And Back to the Future 1.
Yeah.
And you know what other movie?
Endgame.
Yeah, well, debatable. But no, I really don't know where it stands. I loved this movie. So, like I said, I'll probably feel differently in a few months when I kind of like think about it a lot more.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying anything bad about it. Definitely high up on my list for sure.
And one thing that I think some people may feel will knock it down a point is the fact that there is a portion of the movie that it's dedicated to the emotion. And some people may dictate that as slow, especially compared to the speed of Infinity War, which was a lot more higher paced. This movie definitely focuses on the emotions, and if you're expecting back-to-back action scenes, you're not going to get that.
Okay, yeah, that's a good warning. When you see this movie, just know that you're in it for the story, and it needs to be told. Ton of stuff to talk about because, as you know, Endgame is here, and we are going to get into spoilers. Again, that is spoilers.
SPOILERS, in case you work better by having things spelled out for you.
Yeah. So if this is your chance to kind of sign off immediately, or click on another video, or watch cat videos or something, so that you don't get it spoiled. All right. So spoiler review. Holy crap!
Oh my god!
This movie.
Greatest thing.
Holy crap!
Like, I'm so glad I wore my diaper because there were moments.
So many emotions. So many emotions.
What a fantastic freaking
God.
movie because
so many emotions.
Okay, wait. All right. Let's start off
from the beginning.
In the cold opening.
In the cold opening?
No title, no nothing.
Are you going to remember everything? Because that is a lot to remember.
I will remember. I've been thinking about it for days. It's been imprinted on my soul.
We've only seen it once. We have to see it again.
Well, yes, but we have to see it again for sure. So the cold opening.
Yes, the cold opening.
Hawkeye with his family. Out on his farm, just having a nice little picnic.
I'm getting goosebumps.
You know, he's there with his... As soon as I saw him talking to her and being nice with his daughter, I was like, they're dead.
Yeah, but we knew it.
But I didn't know all three were going to die. I thought maybe just the daughter. And the fact that he was just so oblivious. He just turns away and she's like, dinner, food's ready. And he looks back and you just see the little dust particles going.
Right.
And you knew.
Right.
And then and the whole theater was like, oh.
Yeah.
Dead quiet.
Dead quiet. And then he turns back to be like, hey, have you seen... And they're gone. And that's what... He knew something was going on. And it was what an impactful way to tell the audience, buckle up.
Right.
You're gonna cry.
Actually, that's not the buckle up part.
That would set the tone for the good first 2 quarters of the movie.
By this point, the Marvel logo didn't even start yet.
Correct. We didn't. It was a cold opening. Yes.
Yeah.
But
I remember I was like, it just started, and I was like, "Is this a trailer? This isn't a trailer. Oh my gosh, this is happening right now."
Fade in from black. Yes, It just started. And I would love to eventually watch the Russo brothers directed commentary.
I would like to see that.
Please, yes. So that happens, right? So he loses his family. Then
we cut to Iron Man.
We transition to space.
And we're gonna put in episode 1 of the Geeky Podcast. We're gonna splice that in here because if you guys have been watching this whole time, in episode 1, I kind of leaned into the mic and said, "At me," when Captain Marvel saves Iron Man. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
remember that?
I had a feeling. I knew that was.
Do you remember that when we fought that in episode 1 and you like completely refuted me and you said it wasn't gonna happen?
Oh, that's cool.
And you thought it was gonna be Pepper Potts.
Wait till I get to the point where I can stroke my pride.
Okay.
I dropped something the last 2 podcasts.
Okay, so did I.
That was completely true.
You guys are.
I think. The funny thing is the Russo brothers released a post where they said that certain fans got really, really close to guessing what happened. And that's not to say that certain fans guessed what happened. And I genuinely think the Russo brothers released that because they heard our podcast.
I think so. Sure.
Because they're like, crap, they got it.
Well, at the end of this spoiler, we predicted 3 things
3 big things.
3 big things. Because we're such amazing fans and we're so in tune to the geeky culture.
Yeah.
That's why we deserve to be the kings of geek stuff, but and queen.
There you go.
But yeah, so I predicted that. So feel free to at me when you hear in the comments when you hear this. So she saves him, right? But you get
actually, let's actually go before that.
Okay.
I just want to comment on the fact that, and this is like a little thing, but I just picked up on this and I thought it was so cool. I thought it was so interesting to see the dynamic in space between Nebula and Iron Man because of the fact that this is not all the movies that we've seen, this is not really a dynamic that you're used to seeing. You're not used to seeing them together. And the fact that Nebula had this long history of being this evil person, now she's a good person, and the fact that she's taking care of him in space. I just thought that was so interesting that, they're playing that little, what's that game called? They're playing like football. Yeah. They're trying to enjoy each other in this horrible state that they're in. The fact that they're running out of oxygen and they're starving. He's starving, she's starving, but he offers food to her and she's like, no, you should take it. I kind of just really enjoyed those moments.
Yeah, it was good.
Of her actually taking care of him. The part that he actually passed out, she actually like put him on the chair and everything. I just loved and I really appreciated those little moments because we've just never really seen that interaction between the both of them before.
Yeah, and it sets a tone for a character that's going to play a pivotal role in the rest of the movie because this is someone who up until this time has been combed to be a killing machine.
Yeah.
Heartless. She pieces would be swapped out every time she lost. So now she has this mentality, I have to win, I have to win, I have to win. And she's almost being like a mother now. So now she's almost nurturing, she's being a friend. She's being someone who cares, who has a family. So it's almost this 180 that had already started from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Again, the Russo brothers rewarding us for following this journey and seeing, wow, look how much she's changed to the fact that last bit of food, she handed it over and she says, no, it's for you. You're human. You're fully human. I'm half machine.
Yeah. You know what was interesting? I thought when they were playing the football game that she won. Because before this, she always lost to Gamora. She never really won anything. Like you said, she always lost when it was trying to be made perfect by Thanos. She was always used to being second. And just like he asked, "Did you have fun?" She's like, "I did." Like she had fun. She had fun for the first time in her life in this stupid little football game. That's like something we played as kids, And I thought that was a cool scene. That was a cool. What they did though is they tricked us in the trailer because he was not that skinny in the trailer.
Yep.
Well, I think that's very hard to pick up on in the trailer, though. You know what I'm saying?
It was definitely pronounced during the movie.
It's kind of hard. You see it more.
I'm pretty
when
sure
he
that was
finally meets
CGI,
up with
though.
the
I don't
Avengers.
think it was.
I don't know. Remember, they've been filming Endgame for years.
He was definitely skinny. I don't think.
I don't know. They just.
They've been able to CGI certain things. I would be very interested to know if he lost the weight.
Right.
Because he looked bad.
Yeah.
I know the
Christian
face is
Bale.
makeup. Yeah. His face, you could tell that could be makeup and whatnot because he looked like a corpse, like he was about to die. You've gone 22 days without eating or barely eating.
So Captain Marvel comes in.
Yeah.
Plot device.
Yeah, so she saves them and then she just kind of like brings the ship back to Earth.
Right.
Which basically also is a tidbit. You can tell, you could kind of tie in one storyline with another. The fact that when Captain Marvel finished, you had the end credits scene where she's like, "Where's Nick Fury?" They probably interacted, said, "Well, okay, let's try and find where people are."
"Where's Iron Man?"
Where's Iron Man? He's in space, and
she's
like, "I'll go get him."
Yeah,
exactly, because she seems to be like, "Hey, I can do anything."
Yeah.
So she brings him back, right? And we have this excellent scene of Robert Downey Jr.
award-winning.
Oh my gosh!
Award-winning.
He sees Captain America for the first time. Right. And at first they're kind of like, "Hey, what's going on? Good to see you." Kind of a little cordial, right? And he's sickly. And then when they're just talking about what happened, he just goes off on him.
Yeah.
He just blames him for everything that happened.
I mean, he's obviously angry. He's obviously hurt. He just spent 22, days on the ship. He's upset. But he's like, "Where were you?"
Right.
Where were you? And he doesn't know that Cap was there.
Right.
He was there, but he says one thing that's very specific. I said this world needed a shield. And that's a callback to Age of Ultron, where he wanted to put those things all over the world, and he said this would have never happened. Maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong. I don't know.
The Russo brothers also said in an interview that the reason why they lost to Thanos is it's actually Iron Man and Captain America's fault because of the fact that of Civil War they had a rift between one another. You know, that's actually why they lost to Thanos.
If they
So,
if they would have worked as a team, I think Infinity War wouldn't have happened. And
If they would have assembled.
if they would have assembled. And I think that
like what you did there.
and I think one of the things as well is the fact, you know, I'm a big Team Iron Man person. When Civil War came out, I definitely was for it.
That's so cute. I was Team Captain America the whole time.
Yeah, Team
Yeah,
Cap.
so the fact that Tony was able to deliver that speech and sort of shut Cap up and be like, listen, I had a vision. I knew this would happen. I tried to protect people. And right now, if maybe people would have been, hey, you restrict their rights a little bit, but guess what? They'd be alive. We could have prevented Thanos from invading Earth. He was shut down. Everything was divided. That never went through. So I was definitely, that was a very fan service moment for Team Iron Man in the crowd, because I was like, yep. Exactly.
Yeah,
you're
like-
right. You're right.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be here right now.
Well, what's amazing, and again, this just goes to like the incredible storytelling and writing, is just that throughout this journey that we've seen these characters, you could logically agree with Iron Man's point of view, but you
Yeah.
could also logically agree with Captain America's
can,
point of view.
yeah.
You could, you know, so I just love that. I just love that. But yes, I loved Robert Downey Jr. breaking down. He was breaking down. He was a broken man. You could tell he was disheveled physically, just mentally messed up. You could tell he was mentally ill. He was just messed up. He had amazing acting in that moment, and I felt for him. I really felt for him.
I think the main driving force, though, because he said it to Pepper Potts later, was he died in my arms, was Spider-Man. I lost
Right.
a kid. He says later on in the movie, he says, I lost a kid.
Yeah.
You know? And that was really what sent him over the edge, was when Peter just, like, turned to dust in his arms.
Yeah.
Then we get to kind of see, like, the whole team, and, you know, Iron Man or Tony Stark's asking, you know, what's going on. They show Thor what's up with him, and Rocket's like, oh, he blames himself, you know? And we kind of get a feel of what everybody's feeling, you know, Black Widow, Thanos set out to do exactly what he wanted to do.
Right.
But, right?
And I just want to say, I just loved seeing Pepper Potts alive, because there was speculation for the longest time. Does she get dusted?
Yeah.
Is this going to affect the outcome of Iron Man being alive? You know, he's talking into the helmet in space. Is she actually hearing this? Does she exist? So I just loved seeing Pepper Potts alive, because we'll go into a little later about what he does with his life with Pepper Potts.
Yeah. So they develop a plan, right?
They say, let's get the stones back.
Let's go. Let's kill this man.
No, let's kill Thanos.
Or not even.
No, they
not
said,
even.
let's get the stones
Let's get the
back.
stones
Oh, right,
back. That's
right,
right. That's
right.
right. And like, then they're like, we tried that, it didn't work. And of course, Captain Marvel's like, well, you didn't have me.
You didn't have me, yeah.
Right. And she's right. They didn't.
And
have
they
me.
didn't have Iron Man. Well, no, at this point, Iron Man said, you guys go without me.
Right.
Even the point
Correct.
where he like
Right.
rips off.
I
Yeah.
could not
Oh my
believe
God,
that. That was a man that had literally nothing else to live for.
Yeah, he was like,
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I guess at some point the heart thing didn't
That's
matter
Iron
anymore.
Man 3. Iron Man 3, he gets
Oh,
it fixed.
I only saw it once because it was
Yeah.
crap.
I just
So,
love
In
seeing
Iron Man
this.
3, they take
yeah.
out the shrapnel
Oh, okay.
out of it, and then he just continues to wear it for protection
Right.
reasons. And it has a nanotex inside. So.
Okay. I
This is
understand.
another level or another layer to Iron Man's character that we've never seen before. I just
Where he
love
gives
It's
up.
seeing
almost like
that.
he's regressing
I just
back
love
into the kind of
seeing
person
that.
he was, where he's like, you deal with it.
Yeah.
That's not my problem. Like,
Right.
Like, that's it. Like, and we see that development almost of like a regression that
Right.
we'll get into, you know, when he's like, listen, like, I have my thing here. Like, I have too much to lose.
Yeah. So they go, right? We get this. Apparently, they find Thanos because he used the stones recently. It's the same energy signature as before. Well, you see this great shot of Thanos like at peace. He's in his little Garden of Eden kind of thing.
But he's limping.
Well, he's limping because apparently when he used the stones the second time,
Right.
it almost killed him.
Right.
So even somebody as strong as Thanos can't use the stones without being affected, right? But he's where he is, and the question would be like, why is he still at peace? Well, he completed his job. He had a mission forever, and he did it. And out of nowhere, he gets ambushed by the Avengers, right? Like, can't do anything. Captain Marvel comes in, knocks him down. They hold him down. You know, Hulk's there, right? And then taking a page out of The Last Jedi, they Snoke Thanos.
No, first they sliced off his hand.
That's right.
They held him all down.
Right.
And he's like,
cuts off
and
his
then
arm.
boom, they slice off his hand.
Yeah.
Another
Right.
thing from Star Wars.
Yeah.
Right.
Another page from Star Wars. They slice his hand off,
Yeah.
and I remember the theater was like, oh,
Yeah.
like, it was going crazy.
Yeah.
And then you see this fat hand, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And it flips over, and it reveals the fact that the stones are all gone.
And
Right.
they reveal. He tells them that he destroyed the stones because if he
That was
keeps-
his second signature, energy
yeah,
signature.
he,
The fact that
he
destroyed them.
destroyed them, and at that point you knew they weren't going to get the stones back because it makes sense if you're Thanos to destroy the stones because you don't want anybody undoing what you did, right? You complete your mission. You think you've done good for the universe. Let me destroy these stones.
And Nebula says a very important line. She says, "My father never lies."
Yeah, he might be a lot of things, but he's
I
not a liar.
loved that. I
Yeah.
loved that. I don't know why.
Because it gives the villain depth.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, he's not
in his
like a
mind,
chaotic.
in
He's
his
a
mind,
lawful
he's not
good.
evil.
Oh,
right?
lawful
No,
evil.
he's lawful evil lawful evil.
Yeah.
Exactly for you
You know,
D&D
Right,
players.
right.
But no, seriously, like although he did a bad thing, his reasoning to himself was that he thought he was doing a good thing.
Right.
So he's not a liar. So yeah, it does give him depth. That is true. And in a moment of anger, Thor takes off his head.
Oh my gosh,
He
that's
aimed for
hard.
the head.
And you want me to be honest? I loved the fact that this took place like the first 25 minutes.
So
of
did
the
I.
movie.
I did not know where
Before
this
the
movie was
logo.
going to go.
Before
Exactly.
the
I was
logo.
like,
What?
As soon as that happened, I was like, what?
What are they gonna do
Yeah.
now?
What is this
Everyone
movie?
thought it was Thanos. Like,
Yeah, like what is this movie about now?
Right.
Like, are they going to introduce a new bad guy for the next
Right.
phase? I was completely confused,
Right.
and that's why I compared it to Snoke because I was just as confused when Snoke died. I'm like, where are we going with this? Right?
Yeah, and I just loved, and again, I'm
And even
trying
Rocket said, like, what did you do? You know?
Right.
I went for the head.
Well, Thor, right when he did go for the head, you could still tell that even after he took his head off, you could see in Thor's face he still wasn't satisfied.
Yeah.
You could still feel this emptiness, like it didn't really resolve how he was feeling.
Yeah.
Which obviously they explore even further into this film. I just love how everything just connects.
Yeah.
Just
And
all the consistency of the characters.
And in that scene, he walks away, and
And he
you
just
don't see
walks
him
away.
again until
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
You know, he probably just
Right.
dipped out. He was like, because he feels personally guilty from
Right.
just, if I would have gone, a foot up, I would have, this never would have happened.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So then the logo. Then the Marvel
This
logo.
has all happened before the movie even really started.
Right.
You know, like the movie hasn't even really officially started until you see the logo, in my opinion,
Right.
right? So
What's next?
that's
5 years later.
That's amazing, and we skipped 5.
Oh my gosh,
years.
no. Can I just say, when they said 5, they paused and they did
Right,
that on
yes, they
purpose.
did. Yes,
because
they
everyone
did.
was waiting, and I turned to my friend and I was like, days, weeks, months, what's good? When it said years, everyone in the crowd was like,
Yeah.
and I loved the fact that they were able to put what happened a few days after, so we can kind of, they satisfied that.
Yeah.
Where, where everyone stood a couple days after,
Correct.
22 days later, right? And then 5 years later. So you're
Right.
satisfying both.
Because if they had just jumped to 5 days right off the bat, I wouldn't be like, why didn't they just go after Thanos? They know in the first place, like you're pissed off, just go get him. You know what I mean? Like, but the fact that, like you said, they showed what happened right then
Right.
and why they're in this situation 5 years later now was great.
And I loved the next scene because the next scene is you see Captain Rogers being the leader of
Captain
some type.
Rogers?
Captain Rogers. Captain Rogers.
Captain Kangaroo and
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Mr. Rogers mixed together.
Captain Rogers, Steve Rogers. You see him being the head of this PTSD support group.
Yes.
In which one of the people there is one of the Russo brothers.
Yes.
And again, so true to the character.
Correct.
Of course, Captain America would be the one to feel the need to put a support group together because it goes with his character, his
He has to help.
with his World War I or World War II background. That's just something that he would do. So I just loved that he's still trying to do the best for the greater good in the circumstance that he's in. Although you can tell that I want to say Captain Rogers, Captain America, he still feels that it's not
It's not enough.
not enough.
At this point, he's Steve.
At this point, he is
Correct.
Steve.
He's
right.
not. He's not wearing his Star Spangled Banner suit.
But he's still
just
trying to do
sitting
the
there in
best
a
for
flannel,
humanity.
and he's like,
Even in his community, he's still trying to do the best he can. So I just loved seeing
Yeah,
that.
that was very true to character.
no strength
Very true
and
to
no
character.
shield's gonna bring these characters back. That's how he feels. So he takes off the the suit. He takes off the shield and he says, "I'm gonna help the community."
Correct.
That's so in character, and,
And
it's
it's
amazing.
like
So in
it's like in a gym
character.
somewhere with like 5 people are
Yeah.
there. It's like kind of very depressing. But
Right.
he's there. He's
Right.
there because he has to help.
Right.
So now Black Widow is like the new Nick Fury, right? And she has all these people on different missions, and
Which I didn't really understand what missions they were on.
they were just doing things they could
don't-
around the world.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't think
Yeah,
it
the
was...
world's moved on. They
Okay,
weren't doing
yeah.
anything with Thanos because they thought they had lost. That was it.
Yeah.
There's nothing they could do.
I wouldn't call it missions. I don't think they were on missions. From what I understood, it was kind of like, okay, the world has gone to crap, but let's just do the best that we can.
Yeah.
You, Captain Marvel, you oversee the everything, galactic space and everything, oversee that everything's okay. Let's try to, War Machine, go over there. Let's try to assess anything that's going on in the world. I think they were just trying to do the best that they could with the world as it was.
And it's something that's going to be very interesting, especially with the Disney Plus platform coming out. I'm pretty sure there's going to be so many things in those 5 years that they could develop.
yeah.
Think about the
Interesting.
fact of
Like Ronan and like
what was he doing? Not only that,
Or Captain Marvel out there. Yeah.
think about countries that now the entire government's in chaos.
Mm-hmm.
The president died. The vice president also died. And, like half the Senate's gone. Like,
Right.
imagine how now all these countries are in chaos.
Yeah.
Maybe the United States was able to somewhat recover, but there's probably parts. I think War Machine. He was in Mexico. Because he's
Right.
like, maybe parts of the government are shut down and the cartel's taking over. So he was probably over there, and I remember he mentioned something about a room full of these guys.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of excited because of the fact that they put those 5 years there. We're gonna have 5 years of content. I mean, think of like shows like Arrow,
Yeah.
where they were able to do like 6 seasons, and half of the season was always like the 5 years he was on the island.
Right.
I think they're gonna be able to develop a lot of what happened in the world during those 5 years. That
Right.
half the people were gone.
Yeah, the Russo brothers really did an excellent job of creating opportunities for future content without it seeming being forced.
Right.
Because before this, the future content was at end credit scene, right? What's at the end credits? Oh, that guy's coming. But they did so many things during this movie that allow for us to take a break from the movies after Far From Home, and so they can develop in the future and just have great content in between, whether it be in the comics that tell a story in the 5-year gap, whether it be on Disney Plus, whether it be wherever they decide to do it. They did the more we talk about it, and in the spoilers, I'll talk about more areas where they could really do something with this.
And then I just loved the next scene where Scarlett Johansson, she did such good acting. She just breaks down and she starts crying because you could tell in that moment without her saying a word, like, I'm doing the best that I can, but it's never going to be the same.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
never going to be the same. And then in comes Steve Rogers, and then he's trying to console her, but it's
Yeah.
just not going to work, you know?
And they acting like a brother-sister duo at that point.
Yes, I love it. And then also that moment debunks the rumor that they were romantically involved. Because I've heard rumors that no, they're actually romantically involved and this and that or whatever. No, he says, I'm here to see an old friend.
Yeah.
Which is alluding to her. So,
Yeah.
I just love them together, their friendship. So the next scene after that, I forgot what happens.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, you're done. You're done.
I tried my best. Man, what happened?
So
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man comes.
Ant-Man.
So of course, a little rat just so happens to press
Master Splinter was like, I have to save the Avengers, and he goes over there and turns on the machine.
Coincidentally, again,
Master Splinter.
again, plot device, but whatever. Because of course, a rat just so happens.
Hey,
to
listen,
press
there's a
the
million different scenarios.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
There
I'm
was
just
probably
saying.
a timeline where the rat didn't touch the buttons in the right sequence.
I'm just
And in
saying.
this one, he did.
So then Ant-Man gets out. He has no idea
General confusion.
why in the world he's even in this storage facility. He's walking around and he sees the world and he feels the world is in such disarray.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminds me of, and I'm going to go back to it, Back to the Future 2, which is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Okay, yep.
Marty McFly gets into the time machine, and when he gets out of the DeLorean to go back to 1955, he goes to his neighborhood and there's
No, 19. He went
I'm
back to the 80s.
I'm so sorry. 1985
yeah.
to where he's originally from, and he sees his neighborhood and everything's in disarray, everything's dirty. There's bars on the windows. He's like,
Yeah.
"What's going on?"
Yeah,
he
complete
goes
confusion,
inside
man.
his bedroom. It's somebody else's house.
The same walk too.
And it's the same walk, and he's like, "What is going on?" And I'm pretty sure that Kevin Feige and the Russo brothers, they made that nostalgia connection with Back to the Future. And that's exactly what happened to Paul Rudd or Ant-Man. He's walking around. He's like, "What in the world is going on?" And then he makes the connection that all these people disappeared when he sees the big stone plaques. Or plaque stone,
yeah.
of all the different names of people that have passed away. He's looking for his daughter. Initially, I didn't know he was looking for. I thought he was looking for Hope or Hank Pym,
Yeah.
but he was looking for his daughter. Realizes his daughter's still alive. And the part that to me, where I wanted to start crying like immediately,
When he saw his daughter.
because he has no idea what's
Yeah.
really going
And what
on,
day
you know?
it is.
Yeah, he didn't know.
And he sees his daughter, and
She's
his
grown
daughter
They got me.
is grown up, and it's not even like a funny moment. There's no humor.
joke,
There's
nothing.
no joke. He sees his daughter. He grabs his daughter, and he's like, "You're so big."
Yeah.
And that moment, like, honestly, it made me want to choke up. You know,
They
what
didn't
I'm
get me
saying?
with the Hawkeye thing, but when that happened,
Because
I had
it's
a lump in my throat.
But he's like, you can only imagine in his brain is like, what is going
Yeah.
on? Like, how much time did I miss? Especially since Paul Rudd looks the same, you know?
He does look the same.
After 5 years, but his daughter grew up. So again, I don't know how to rate this movie properly because everything I'm mentioning, I just love so far.
But
And it goes again with the fact that the Russo brothers have this amazing ability of doing multiple things with one
Right.
scene.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that the audience also doesn't know what happened
Right.
in these 5 years.
Right.
correct.
And they're able to sprinkle a little bit.
Right.
You know, you have these large plaques that are almost, it's a memorial.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So so now just with that scene, you're able to put the fact that, okay, people have been able to register who's lost. People have been able to start
And are still
listing
mourning.
who's lost.
Correct.
They're still
Right.
mourning.
Correct.
Right.
There was a
With
lot of
the
people
kid.
at that
Right.
cemetery. Yeah.
With
Right.
the kid, when he looks back, you know, it's a kid, you know, maybe he was 5 when it happened. He probably lost his parents, and he's like, you see have you seen this person, the missing all over.
Right,
So
which is
they're doing-
realistic.
Which is realistic.
It's realistic.
So it paints a picture. It performs multiple functions when
Right.
you think, okay, what's going to make it on the cutting board and what's not.
Yeah.
Right.
These scenes have to be multi-layered and do multiple things at once
Right.
to fit it all in 3 hours.
Correct.
Right.
And it's really a testament to the storytelling of the Russo brothers because they're not just
Well,
thinking,
again, it's not Russo brothers. It's ultimately Kevin Feige. Remember, because he had a plan from beginning to the end.
okay, so Kevin
It's
Feige and the
ultimately
Russo
Kevin Feige's story. Yeah.
and the Russo brothers.
Right.
Okay, so the how about it's a testament to the storytellers of this movie.
Right.
Because they're not just thinking, what are these superheroes going to do? They're thinking, what are all the regular people going to do for this event too? What is the government going to do? What would America do? What would they've had to think about that. And
Right.
that really makes the whole world of this scene, right? And going back to the Ant-Man thing, this man spent a good portion of his daughter's first life in jail. Mm-hmm. And here he is, last time he saw her, she was a little girl, and now he's missed another 5 years of her life. Like, could you imagine I'm not a dad that I know of.
You're not.
Okay. But I couldn't imagine missing so much of my child's life. One, because I did something stupid and learned from it, and one, because I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. So, or the other way around, just her seeing her dad thinking he was dead. You know, what a great scene that was, and that's why it just got me. It just got me in my feels right there.
So he shows up. He meets up with the Avengers. Obviously, he knows where the
they're in
Avengers
shock.
headquarters is. He meets up with Black Widow, Captain America, and Paul Rudd. Now he has the ammunition and the motive to be like, no, we got to do something about this. And then that's when he starts talking to everybody about the quantum realm, which that was kind of something I knew. We knew that this movie was going to be about the quantum realm, which actually highlights the significance of Ant-Man and the Wasp movie.
Yes.
Although a lot of people were like, oh, it's not that important.
But it's a huge movie.
So he starts saying, like, listen, for you guys, it's been 5 years. But for me, in the quantum realm, it was 5 minutes.
5 hours or minutes.
Or 5 hours, something like that. So he's like, what if we can take the energy of the quantum realm, we can harness it, and we ourselves can go back in time and collect all the stones. Another plot point, they could have just gone back in time just to kill Thanos as a baby, just like...
Which he mentioned.
They addressed that, though.
But I forgot how they...
He said, why don't we just go back and kill Thanos as a baby? And Mark Bruce Banner was like, dude, that's messed up. And Iron... Oh, man, Don Cheadle was like, but it's Thanos. But it's still, like, if you could go back in time and kill Hitler as a baby...
Right, would you?
If you it's still a baby.
It's a Minority Report kind of thing.
Correct.
Which is, you're killing someone when they haven't committed the crime yet.
Right,
exactly.
Okay, I guess that's true.
Exactly.
I guess that's true.
And even though, I have proof because I come from the future. Really, you're killing an innocent person at that moment.
Yeah.
So it's morally incorrect.
So once they decide that they're going to go, that they need to go back.
Wait, one part. And Banner at this point has already been introduced as the Hulk.
Not yet.
Well, because you just
mentioned
Banner.
No, not yet. First they said we need somebody that can do this. We go to see Tony Stark. And Tony Stark has a freaking little girl.
I just thought that was also another fascinating part of the story.
Because it added an element, because you knew they were trying to get him to do something.
Right.
And now you're like, no, he has a family.
Yeah.
Like,
immediately the crowd's like, I don't want him to lose his family.
Exactly.
Like, he's a dad now.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
But you could tell that, again, this is why I just thought it was brilliant storytelling. They find Iron Man. He is so messed up over everything that happened. He's like, I want nothing to do with this anymore. I am so disappointed in everybody and everything, Captain America. So he's like, I'm going to do what I want to do. Yeah. So it's foreshadowed in an Infinity War that he had a dream with Pepper Potts, and he was like, listen, we got married, we had a kid. So he lives out
named
that
her
dream.
Morgan after your uncle.
Named
He's like,
Morgan.
I named her after the weird uncle you have.
Yeah.
Morgan.
Yeah.
So, and then you see that he lives in this picture perfect environment. They have, instead of the ritzy, building that he was living in, Stark Industries, now he lives in this little cabin away from everybody, which is so interesting. He's like, I've decided to leave that other part of me behind, you know? And it seems like his life is absolutely perfect. And Steve Rogers goes up to him and tries to make amends, and they're like, listen, I think we got a way of doing this, and with the quantum realm and blah, blah, blah. And Iron Man is like, listen, if you guys want to do that, that's fine. I'm out.
I can't afford to lose what I have.
He's like, I can't afford to lose what I have, which is an interesting layer to the story. It's just another complication and a layer to the story. But I just love how it's not until that moment where you see him washing the dishes and he just pulls that picture of Spider-Man.
Peter,
Because you can tell with that picture of Spider-Man that in the back of his brain all these years, he himself is still thinking about what happened.
Correct.
On top of the fact, another little shoehorned thing, but no big deal, the Avengers go up to him to talk to him about time travel, whereas he's like, I want nothing to do with this, blah, blah, blah. And then the same night, I did it. I discovered I discovered the key component of how to time travel.
Well, he was torn. He
Coincidentally,
even went to Pepper Potts.
Does that mean that all these years he's been secretly trying to figure out how to discover the proper way to time travel? Just coincidentally, they come and now he knows how to do time travel?
Well, Tony Stark has always been the genius. It would have been also like I'm not gonna remember her name. Black Panther's little sister.
Zuri.
It's like Shuri. Zuri.
I think it's Zuri.
It's like Zuri. Yeah, they have their aptitude. If this was an RPG and you're like allocating things, their intelligence is off the charts compared to the rest of them. So I think him just throwing things in the dark there. It's because he already has concepts. If you notice when they were sitting down and they were discussing it, he even threw words out there. He was like, have you even tested this and this and this and this? And then when he drove up, he's like, let me guess. He came back a kid, didn't he?
Yeah, so he had thought about it.
So he's probably very, very knowledgeable in these kinds of theorems and quantum physics with time.
Coincidentally, the same day they go to visit him, he figures out the key component of how to time travel.
Yeah.
Whatever, not a major deal. It's kind of like, oh, okay.
He was torn by it, though, because he was like, listen, I'll throw it out if you want me to. I'll bury it. I'll throw it out.
Right. I'm just saying you figured it out in an hour, a couple hours. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because if we watch the whole process of him figuring it out, it'd be a 5 hour
I'm just saying, again,
he probably figured it out over the course of an hour. You don't know if it was over an hour. It could have been 4 days later. There was a time.
Yeah,
you don't know
how long.
Yeah, because in all that time they went to Bruce. And they went and they tested and they built
it was
that
days
thing.
later.
Right.
Yeah.
So Iron Man, he goes to Pepper Potts and he's like, listen, I've discovered how to do this and I have to do this. I have to basically leave my family and I need to figure this out for time travel just so that we can kind of rectify everything that Thanos did. And in all the other movies, Pepper Potts was always telling Iron Man, like, no, don't do it, Tony, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. But then this time around, it's like she understands all this craziness that has occurred and his pain that he's been throughout all the years, and she's like, you know what? You do what you got to do.
Yeah, but you know that the moment there where they sit down on the couch and there's like the fire and they're drinking and whatever.
It's perfect. He didn't need to go back to helping the Avengers.
Yeah, no, you're right. But she says we got lucky, and when she said that, it kind of in my mind, I kind of got like reminiscent of like post 9/11. When people are like, man, I was on my way to work and I stopped to get gas and I could have been in that building. You know. That's kind of the feeling I got. And it's amazing how an actual terrible world event that happened somehow came back into my mind on this fictional event. Like, they hold the same weight almost, which I know they don't. But, like she said, like, we got lucky. Like, that was the kind of event. It helps you relate.
It could help build this picture. And it adds, again, another layer of complexity, which is not only... It's not the fact that everyone lost something. It's, what if you lost everything, started building back again... and could possibly lose again.
Yeah.
Which I think made his sacrifice really the ultimate one. Because he actually had something. The other people didn't have as much to lose. You started a family after the snap.
Correct.
Right.
You have the love of your life survived, and now you have a kid. You know?
Yeah. No, definitely. And, I mean, what a great dad Tony Stark was, too, right?
I know.
Oh, man.
I love you 3000.
God,
Oh,
yeah,
just the way she
yeah.
talked, I love you 3000. Oh,
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah, it was great. It was
Gosh.
Yeah. I was sitting there, I was like, oh, he's going to die.
Yeah, they definitely, like, made it look, definitely, you could tell from the beginning, you know?
great. So we fast forward, and then they finally meet up with Banner.
Which is him, the Hulk Banner, or Hanner, or
Is he
Hulk.
called Mr. Fix-It? Is that what they're calling him in the comics?
No.
Is that somebody else?
He's Professor Hulk.
Professor Hulk.
Professor
Okay, I'm getting
Hulk.
confused
Or
now.
Hanner, or Bulk, whatever you want to call him.
I just loved
That was so great.
rendition of the Hulk.
So great.
I mean, they could have easily brought back the Hulk that was like, Hulk smash, this and that, and it would have been cool. I would have been fine with that.
I was kind of waiting for it, too. I
But
was
the
like,
fact that they merged, you know, Banner and Hulk together, which I did hear is another real rendition in the comics.
Yeah, it is.
I just thought it was so cool and it was so funny.
Yeah, no, it was great, and this might open the door to future Hulks like Red Hulk and Gray Hulk. Like,
Right.
We still haven't had a Hulk standalone movie because
Right.
I don't think it works when you just have him going crazy and just smashing things. But now that you can have an intellectual Hulk, you can actually have a Hulk that figures out problems.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like can put things together and figure things out.
Oh, I loved it. I loved seeing this.
Great scene.
This new type
Great
of
scene.
Hulk.
And the kids come and take his autograph
Yeah.
and they don't even know who Ant-Man is.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, I'm Ant-Man.
And it adds the layer of how much has happened in the 5 years. Infinity War ends with him struggling between these two
Right.
personas
Right.
of they're pretty much two souls trying to take over a host.
Right, right.
You know, which is Bruce Banner's body. So, you know, at the end when he was like, we have a lot to talk about, you know, Infinity War ends with that. And the fact 5 years later, they're almost, you know, just working together.
Right.
So...
And now they go get Thor.
Right.
I would love to see like them test, you know, the process.
The testing,
What got
yeah.
him there? You know.
Oh yeah, maybe we can get something from
Yeah.
for the Hulk. So now we go get Thor. We got to go see what's going on with Thor, which is the greatest freaking thing ever.
Yeah.
Fat Thor or the Big Lebowski or the Dude, if you
Thick Thor.
I was not expecting that at all.
I wasn't either.
I wasn't either, and it was awesome because
Yes.
he's known to be one of the fittest out of all of them.
Right.
Right. When you look at, I mean, him and Chris Evans are like the two fittest ones, and to just him ruin his body like that, and he's just hanging out like a loser, playing Fortnite with his friends, you know, drinking beer. What an amazing, what an amazing thing to do. And if you think the two movies that were not the greatest was Thor's when he took himself seriously, and the two best was when they didn't take him that seriously.
Oh yeah, he's a great comedian. And what I loved about this rendition of Thor was that it was funny, it was absolutely hilarious, but at the same time, it was actually really sad and also very realistic because you have this God. He is a God, and all these movies that you've seen him, he's always succeeded, and he's muscular, and he's literally the whole entire package. And he literally, at this point in time, he feels like the weight of the universe, the state of the universe, how it is, all these deaths is his fault.
Yeah.
Because he didn't aim for the head.
Yeah.
And what if I ever found myself in that situation and I'm the one responsible for all these deaths? I would probably let myself go too. I'd be like, nothing else matters. Why? I'm a pathetic person. So it's funny what happened to him, but at the same time, it's actually very sad. And again, true to character.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's true to character. He was so hard on himself that he became literally a hermit.
Yeah, yeah,
He became, even though he's the king of the new Asgard, which I think is pretty cool, he became a hermit.
And I think they discovered that side of not just now Thor, but of Chris Hemsworth. The fact that in Thor Ragnarok, they kind of tested this person who was able to be so dynamic in between having so much pain, but laughing at the same time, and being able to joke about it. And the fact that a lot of people can almost feel relatable with that, you know, when you go through tragedy and you kind of like try and joke about it. He does it so well as an actor.
In the same
As an
scene,
actor,
he
he's
went
able-
back and forth in the same scene.
And
From
in a-
looking pathetic to being funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And we saw that, you know, in Thor Ragnarok when he lost so much. In Infinity War again when he lost his brother. And then he's with, you know, Rocket Raccoon and he's like, hey, little rabbit. Like, you know, like all these different things. He's able to go from...
Oh my God. Speaking of what you just said, I don't want to interrupt you, but I just love that moment going back where Robert Downey Jr., he sees Rocket for the first time and he's like, for a second, I thought you were Build-A-Bear.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like, oh my God, just for a second, I thought you were Build-A-Bear. I thought that was so hilarious.
Yeah, the fact that they're able to keep him true to that character that everyone fell in love with, and we're like, hey, we really like this side of Thor, and they're like, okay, well, we're gonna keep going. It shows the fact that they understand what the fans like.
Yes. So, okay, we get the team back together. They
Get the band back together.
We're getting the band back together. And I liked when they sat down and they kind of planned it out. It wasn't like, all right, 1, 3, 2, 1,
Right.
time travel. They're like,
Right.
no, we
Right.
have one shot at this. We need to make it right. Where are the stones?
Right.
Where do we need to go? Let's split up.
Right.
And not Scarlet Witch, Black Widow figures out that at one point in time, there's 3 stones.
In New York.
Now, we know that Loki's staff, right, which had the Mind Stone. We know the Tesseract, right? But the Time Stone being with the Sorceress Supreme was a little bit of a...
I thought it was cool.
But she was in Sri Lanka or wherever that
No,
that place
she was not.
No, not at that
She
time.
was not.
period.
No, she wasn't.
She was in the Sanctum Sanctuary.
What? Oh, because in the beginning of...
Remember, she's like, you're too early. Doctor Strange is
just
still
love
performing.
that.
Yeah,
surgeries
that
down
was
the-
Right,
awesome.
right.
That he was
Wait.
always the chosen one. That
Yeah.
was awesome.
Wait, but we skipped a part.
Yes.
Wait, we're still
Okay,
going.
all right,
We're still
all
going. So I just think that in the beginning of Doctor Strange, she fought them in the streets, right? Was that right?
Right.
I
And
thought
it
that was in
also-
London, though.
What do you mean?
It was in London.
In the beginning of Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme fights those guys in London. There is never anything to tell us she was ever in New York at the time of Avengers 1.
Her base
No,
is from New York.
But the Sanctum Sanctuary, is in
I
New
thought
York.
it was
That's
a
where she
little.
is.
I thought it was a little
And not
bit of
only
a
that,
plot tool.
Doctor
No.
Strange does also mention the fact that there's different sanctums
Yeah.
around the world.
I
There's
get
one
that.
in London, there's
But
one,
for
and they all
her
connect.
to
That is
be
correct.
there on that day was a little bit of a plot.
It
I
hole.
don't think so.
No, it actually explains the fact because it actually covers a plot hole,
Yes.
which a lot of people said, okay, where were the wizards during the attack on New
Exactly.
York? They were there, they were just protecting from their reality.
Exactly.
Because you can
Okay,
see the
okay.
moment when a lot of them are doing their little twisties and their
Right,
hands are moving around.
right.
You can see the glass, which means they're in the mirror realm.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So a lot of them are grabbing a lot of those monsters and putting them into the mirror realm and destroying them.
Okay.
Right.
All right. That made more sense. For me.
So it actually covers another plot hole.
That
which
is
is where were
correct.
they?
All right. That's fine. So
And another thing, real quick, that I liked was the fact that one of my biggest gripes with time travel is the fact that you have the huge plot hole of if you mess something up, there's not a lot of weight because you could always just redo it. You can do
Right.
it again.
Oh, the way they
Right.
explain time in this
And,
one.
and a lot of
Right.
times it's like, oh, the time machine only has this much gas. And it's like, dude,
Right.
seriously, get more
Right.
gas. Like,
Right.
in this one, it was actually, hey, this is Pym particles. This
Right.
is all we have. And Hank Pym's dead.
Yeah.
So that really was like, okay, that makes sense.
And
Like,
I just-
I was
yeah.
sitting there and I was like, okay.
But
yeah.
Banner's explanation of time, I just want to make sure I get it right, was good. He said, right now, if you go back in time, your present is now your past. and the time that you go back into then becomes your present.
Right, and I just love how they start. Like again, it just shows that as an audience, like the Russo brothers, it's like they're, how do you say? I don't know. I don't know if it's like they start to poke fun of all these other different time travel movies that they mention in the movie.
Breaks
Like,
the fourth wall.
oh my God, you mean that everything I know about Back to the Future is wrong?
Yeah, it's all bullcrap,
Hot Tub Time
Hot Tub
Machine,
Time Machine,
Butterfly Effect,
Yeah.
all these other movies. I just thought that was great.
And
I
it lets
love
me
that.
know that all those movies exist in this universe.
Yeah.
Like, hey, the Avengers watch movies
Yeah.
sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they're not always just fighting people, which was cool, which was a cool scene, yeah.
So you see that scene of them trying to test out the quantum realm.
That was cool, yeah.
With Paul Rudd, so you see him as a baby, you see him as an old man. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and they get that right, and
They
then
get
they
that
suit
right.
up, they have their plan, they have their teams, and they execute, right?
Right.
But the very first one, because I didn't know she said, oh, they're in New York and whatever, and I thought, they're just going to go back to New York. I didn't know they were going to go back to Avengers 1, the movie.
Everyone in the theater freaked out.
How cool was that?
Ow.
How cool was that when you just saw them all coming back down like it wasn't Avengers 1
Right.
where they were in the circle or whatever? That was so awesome.
And now you're just seeing it from a different perspective. Oh,
Yes.
man.
Yeah, as soon as they said New York and then I saw the flying things, I was like, wait a second. And then it was freaking Avengers 1. You got like behind the scenes look of what was going on in Avengers
Amazing.
1. So freaking cool.
Again, rewarding you for
Yes.
sitting
Yes.
down
Yes.
throughout
Yes.
this entire journey.
Yes.
Rewarding you for watching them.
And it was almost like on purpose, the Russo brothers were like, you know what? Let's make the last movie all fan service.
But in a
service.
way that
But
tells the
that was
story.
merited. It was
Yes.
100% merited. Let's do a yearbook or callback of all these movies, the main great movies that we've done,
Mm-hmm.
all the greatest hits, as it were. And let's revisit them and see them in a different way. I just loved that.
So great.
I loved that.
And it still put the focus on the main core Avengers. We went back to their first time of becoming the main core Avengers, and the whole movie was basically about, majority of it, the main core Avengers.
Right.
Right? I mean, you had other people peppered in and stuff, too. So, they go to New York. They know that the Tesseract is there and Loki's staff is there.
Right.
They develop a plan with Ant-Man, which is cool when he flicks him off his shoulder.
Flick me!
Yeah, flick me. And he gives Tony Stark a heart attack in order to distract everybody.
But let me just say, one of the favorite parts that I loved was when Iron Man, he goes to the base of the tower and he's hiding behind this wall while they're capturing Loki and they're waiting for S.H.I.E.L.D. to come. You see S.H.I.E.L.D. coming. And there are actually all these bad guys that we know in Winter Soldier all worship Hydra.
Yeah.
And the dramatic irony of being okay, I'm not going to attack these guys. I don't want to touch this because we know eventually they're bad, And then he looks at Captain America and he's or he sees the 2012 Steve and he's like, man, that Captain America, those pants do not flatter your butt at all. I just thought it was so funny.
But Ant-Man.
It was so hilarious.
Ant-Man was like, no, I think it looks good. That's America's butt. Obviously, he says something different, but the Geeky Robots are PG.
No, the other thing is the fact that, again, paying us for following chronologically all these different things. When you look at the movie in hindsight,
you won't see
Ant-Man
that.
points it out and he's like, these guys look like bad guys. Why are you giving this to him?
Yeah.
And when you're sitting down and you're watching Avengers 1, you're like, yeah, S.H.I.E.L.D. got a hold of it.
Yeah.
And then later on, you're like, oh, crap, it's not till Winter Soldier.
Right.
Wait a second, they're all bad.
Yeah.
And that elevator scene.
Oh, I thought he was going to do it over again.
Oh, my God, all over
I was
again.
like, where are we going with this?
How can you
But I
want that?
loved that scene.
I loved it.
Now,
Loved it.
I know you don't. You're not too big caught up on the comics. But
No, I know that was also a
there is
big
a huge
rendition.
thing that happened with Captain America, where at the final end of a Captain America comic series, he says "Hail Hydra." And the fact that they put this in the movie was amazing.
I
Because you
freaking
knew-
loved it.
And again, it adds so much depth to the fact that this isn't just cookie cutter time travel. They're
Yeah.
using their knowledge to their advantage.
Yes.
What they've learned. This is now wisdom. They're
Right,
not going
right.
back. And he's like, do I really want to fight all these people? Oh, wait, I know how to one-up them.
Right.
Correct.
Hail Hydra.
Right.
Yeah.
Boom, that's it.
Yep.
And to me, that was so rewarding.
It was
I was
so
like,
good.
yes!
Their faces were like, oh snap! Like you worship Hydra too? Okay.
We got Captain America on our side?
Yeah.
No questions asked.
Yeah, and then of course this leads into my other favorite part, where Steve Rogers, Captain America 2012, meets up with Captain
Yo,
America
that was a dope
2019,
fight.
and then they see each other. Captain America 2012, he's confused, and he's like, "I could do this all
he's
day."
like, I found Loki. I have located Loki.
Yeah, but he's like, "I could do this all day,"
He's like,
and he's like, "Yeah, I know." Like he's like tired of himself. You know?
He's tired of himself. He hears how he
Because
talks.
he says that all the time, by the way. In the other movies, he
Closes
does
into
say,
catchphrase, yeah.
yeah, that's his catchphrase. And I loved them fighting together. And then, of course, his butt. I just love his butt.
When they both throw the shield at each other,
Yeah,
and they
they
crash
crash.
in the middle.
I loved it.
Because you're fighting yourself. It's the same fighting style.
Which I heard that was also a callback scene to another comic where two Captain Americas are fighting against each other. I did hear that
That
somewhere.
one I don't know.
Yeah, I heard that.
I used to get the comics like every week, but it's expensive after a while. Like I just couldn't. I have to read them online now when I can. So here's some where we get some of the Russo brothers kind of peppering things in that can potentially give us more content in the future. Tony Stark has the Tesseract, and the Hulk, who has to take the stairs, knocks him out with a door,
That
right?
was funny.
Knocks him out the door, and Loki gets a hold of the Tesseract and poof, disappears into wherever the heck
There
he
you
goes.
go, Disney streaming service.
Right? Because Loki has a movie
Loki
coming out.
he has his own
a
show
TV show.
coming
Yeah,
out.
so is that going to be a play off of this?
Probably.
It has to be because
It
he
makes
survived
sense.
now.
Now he's well. Did he survive though? Because that was 2012 Loki. My question is about all this time travel: is
More
if Loki,
loopholes.
huh?
More loopholes.
Yeah, this is a loophole for me. If Loki takes the Tesseract away in 2012 and disappears, how did Thanos get it in the first place to create everything bad that happened?
Because again, the timeline's intact. That timeline's intact. People are still all dead. So now that Loki has survived and he's alive, that breaks off a different timeline
Yes.
that they're now living in. However, everyone's still dead.
But
I don't know if that makes sense. Like Thanos at the end of the day still had all the things and he performed his actions.
how if Loki took the Tesseract away?
Because the consequences of the actions are still going to be there. It's kind of like if I put a, I don't know, it's weird.
But do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? If you
Listen.
remove the Tesseract out of the timeline and you create a separate timeline, right? So there's a timeline where Thanos snapped and Loki's dead. So that would mean that if the Avengers fixed everything in our timeline, in the true timeline where they killed Thanos and everything was done, Loki's still dead in this timeline.
One of the things that
Loki
I thought-
exists in a different timeline.
One of the things that I thought was instead of trying to get all of these things to reverse what happened, if they went back in time and destroyed one of them,
Yeah.
pick and choose which one's the
But
easiest one.
you can't destroy them. Remember the lady said that she needs them to keep time going.
That and I think that's another reason why he's like yeah, that's right, and I think that also covers the plot hole that you need them all intact because she said that'll destroy all the other realities.
Yes.
It'll end up putting it into ruins just to fix yours.
So my question is, does Loki exist in the timeline where the Avengers won at the end of Endgame? Or does Loki exist in a completely different timeline where Infinity War never happened because he took the Tesseract to a completely different place?
Let us know your thoughts in the comments.
Yeah, because I don't know. You see what I'm saying, though? Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
The Russo brothers have... I understand they fixed our timeline. But Loki taking it away, they had to go
Right.
back even further.
Yeah.
Right? They had to go back again even further to back into the 50s or whatever. But then, if you take it away in the 50s, then...
Yeah,
Loki would've
now
never
Loki
had the
never would have had it then.
You see what I'm saying? So...
Oh no, because they took it in that moment and then put it right back in place.
Oh, that's
Captain
right.
America at
He
the
went back
very
in time
end,
and put it back
he
where...
put them back right exactly where they all were.
Right.
So it would have still
So
led to...
everything would have engaged and happened, but boom, after basically, here's a timeline.
Yes. I
And-
agree with you. But if Captain America put it back in the 50s, let's say at the end, he went
He
back...
put all of them back
He
in
put
place.
all of them back where they were, right? You still, throughout time, get to the part where Tony Stark gets knocked out and Loki takes it away.
Yes, you still will.
So then that would still lead to Thanos not having it, unless there's a story out there somewhere showing how Thanos got it, even regardless of Loki taking it away.
And again, if a big plot hole would be if past Thanos died because he went into the future, what happened between the gap between when he died coming into the future and present day Thanos.
Correct. So if past Thanos comes into the future, then Infinity War didn't
And
happen.
gets killed, yes, then Infinity War didn't happen, you know.
Exactly.
But they had to snap to bring everyone back. So now you're
But
going to have
maybe
doubles
that's
of everyone?
But then we're playing off Back to the Future rules at that point, because you're saying whatever you do should affect.
Yeah,
And Banner said that's not how it works.
I think it spins up.
I need to watch it again.
It spins up another reality, because one thing that kind of answered it for me was the fact that when Nebula killed her past self, she didn't disappear.
Exactly.
Right.
So that tells me that now, okay, you're spinning off of another reality where you're your own person, you're your own organism.
Correct.
You know, and when you think about just biology on its own, you know, you're standing and living on its own. If you put quantum physics into it and you kill a past self, you're still an organism. You still exist. Your atomic structure is still there.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm gonna have to wait to read like a review or
Yeah.
something like that. That'll
And
somebody
we're going
smart,
super scientific into this.
somebody smarter than me to review that.
Yeah, there's
so.
more plot holes that I'm thinking of, but we can move
Yeah,
on.
yeah, and then that's that they play a role in the overall feel of the movie.
Right,
but when
right,
you're
right.
watching it, it's entertaining.
Right.
Yeah,
Can we just
you're not thinking about
yeah.
these things when you're sitting down
Okay.
and watching the movie.
So
Wait, can we go back for a moment in regards to the ancient one that Hulk, you know, he bumped into? Or Sorcerer Supreme.
when he's in New York?
Right, and he's trying to get that stone from her. And I'm watching this scene and I'm like, how in the world is going to get the stone from her? Because she was so, like, tight-knit about having the stone.
Yeah.
I loved the moment. I love how she's like, if you're looking for Stephen Strange, he's down.
Yeah, like
he's in
he's
a
the
hospital
chosen
down
one.
the street. I just love that because it just shows how baller she is. Like, she's like, yeah, I already know, Steve.
That this is gonna happen,
Steve, he is the chosen one or whatever, but it's not his time. But I know he's gonna come around. So the fact that this part kind of confused me a little bit because I was a little fast. But how was Hulk able to convince her that, hey, like, listen, you need to give the stone to me?
Well,
because you gave it to
Hulk
Stephen
wasn't.
Strange.
Banner did when she separated.
Oh, right,
the Trinities.
I'm sorry,
For a
Banner.
second there, I thought they were going to be completely different people. I thought she had removed Hulk from him, and like he was going
That's
to
it.
be.
He was going to be over, he was
How
going to
did
come back,
he-
and he was going to be gone.
Yes, I thought
Right.
so.
How did he convince her, like, no, listen, you need to
Can
give
I
the
just
stone to
say
me?
that I freaked out in that moment
Yes.
because I thought that when he was like, I thought like the plan was gonna just completely
Right.
go to rubbish at that
Right,
point
right,
because
right.
like when he's like, yeah, he gave it to Thanos.
Yeah, no, she says that we're meant
And
to
she's like,
protect
she gave
this.
it to Thanos. I was
We're
like,
meant to
we're done.
protect this stone. That's what she
Right,
said. And
right.
he says, then why did Strange give it to Thanos?
Oh, right.
And she says, wait, he gave it to Thanos?
I was like, crap, we're done.
I thought that Benedict Cumberbatch was done being Doctor Strange at that
Yeah.
point. Like, she's like, well, then I'm just not going to give it to him in the future.
But why did that make her be like,
Because she
No.
said he's the best among all of us. So if he did it was for a reason.
Yes.
It was basically blind faith.
Yeah, she
She was
said
like, if he did that, then I trust you.
she believed in the prophecy or whatever vision she knew. He knew he was going to be the best, so she probably knew his commitment to it. So if he handed it over, then it was the truly only way to win.
right? Okay.
Also, in that moment, I thought that she was going to do exactly what a lot of the theories thought, which was that she was going to put it in his hand in the future, a duplicate of the time stone, really, from the past. She was going to transport it to when he handed it over to Thanos.
Interesting.
I thought that's what was going to happen in that moment, but it didn't.
All right, so they failed to get the Tesseract from that time period when the Avengers
Right.
won. So now they're forced to go back to a time in the 50s. I don't know exactly when it was.
1970s.
1970s. Okay, 1970s on a government research
Back
place.
to Shield.
Back to S.H.I.E.L.D., where there's actually 3 iconic characters that are
I
present.
loved going back to the 1970s.
Which was so cool. Yes, which was so cool.
It was so good.
Which we had Tony Stark's dad.
Yeah.
Howard, which he had a great moment with that, talking about having kids and what it's like and all that
tying
kind of
another
stuff.
loose end about
Yes.
Tony Stark's story because he got
Yeah.
to talk to his dad. You could tell he wanted to tell his dad
Yeah.
so bad. Like, listen,
When
I
he
have
hugged
a
at the
daughter.
end.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
a grandfather. You know, he probably wanted to say all that. You know,
Correct.
but that moment I think was so necessary.
Very nice for him to have.
For the fate
Closure.
of the Iron Man character, I think that moment between him and his dad, it was so
Closure.
so perfect. And then the fact that Howard goes into the car and he tells his driver, okay, Jarvis, take me to wherever. Like, that was such a great callback, because then in your brain, you think to yourself, like, oh my God, Jarvis was like a real person in our family. And then maybe eventually Jarvis died, and then he took the name Jarvis and put it into like an AI. And I just thought that was such a cool moment.
Which actually is developed in Agent Carter.
Oh,
you meet Jarvis and Agent Carter. So it rewards you, same actor and everything. Yeah. So again, it rewards you. Even a show that was canceled. So that really goes into play.
Right.
Speaking of Agent Carter.
And then the fact that Steve Rogers, he hides in a room, and of course he sees the picture of himself all skinny and everything, and he's like, why is this picture here of me? And he looks and sees the name on the door of who it belongs to. And it's Peggy Carter, and he sees her minding her own business, doing her own thing. And you could just see in his face that he's thinking all these emotions, like, man, if I could just talk to you right now. Yeah. If I could just forget everything. But again, he holds back. He stays true to character, and he's like, I need to finish this mission.
He needs to stick to the mission.
I need to finish this mission. But that
you
moment. You could
tell it took everything from him to just not like knock on the window and be like, hey, like I'm here, like, say hi, hug her, anything.
And then the next scene, Hank Pym, Michael Douglas. Oh my God.
He looked great.
The CGI.
They did a lot better.
Was so freaking incredible.
Lights and Magic, my favorite CGI company.
Yeah.
Oh my
Originally
God.
Lucas. Lucas, George Lucas's company.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. So then they finally get everything that they need.
Yes, they get what they need. They go back. Everybody comes. Well, wait. Now we go to other areas of people trying to get stuff, right? So you have Rhodey and Nebula get a behind-the-scenes look of the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy 1.
Yes, I was not expecting that.
And they're watching him, and you hear the music, and then you hear it without the music, and he's like singing, and he's like, oh, so he's an idiot. Which is great.
That was funny.
Yeah, which was so great.
Right.
And another fourth wall break when they opened the temple of the Power Stone. He's like, don't you know there's gonna be some like dancers?
Oh, back to Indiana Jones.
Yes, booby traps or something
Disney
like
reference,
that. Right. Another different Disney reference. Yes,
very
exactly.
Cool. Very cool.
But they get the stone, and now the biggest plot element of this whole movie is that past Nebula shares a consciousness with present-day Nebula that went to the past.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So now you get this Obi-Wan, you're my only hope hologram of everything that's going on. Because what's centered around this movie, because I didn't know where this movie was going, really, until they show Thanos.
Mm-hmm. Everything was going very... well. You had your hiccups, but it was going well. You're like, okay, it's going to complete. Yeah. And I think, again, amazing storytelling when you have to verbally say, no!
Yes, when I was like,
no!
Right.
Yeah. I felt a pit in my stomach.
Right.
I was like, oh my God, no.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel that is, again, a great villain. A villain is a good villain is someone that when you see him, when something happens, you cringe and you go, oh my God, no.
Right.
I'm getting goosebumps.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
And it flashes a scene of now you see Gamora and Nebula in a different period of time. And you see Gamora before she even meets Peter Quill. And she's still evil. She's bad. She's on the bad side. I mean, she's still a good person at heart, but she's on the bad side.
Yeah.
And when you see Thanos in a weird way, at least for me, I was like, no. Thanos is a lot more dangerous here than he was back then. I don't know why. It kind of just gave me the chill seeing Thanos again, because I'm like, no, he's still in his ultimate evil stage, and he's still trying, adjust to, create this plan to get the stone. So I like seeing that.
One thing that is also briefly mentioned is the fact that Thanos, up to this point, as he's collecting the stones, he's one by one visiting the planets and doing it himself.
Yeah.
Right.
Doing his divine intervention himself. So he is, in that way, more evil at that moment because he's taking matters into his own hands.
Mm-hmm.
So now he knows, right? And now you have this in the back of your head, like, oh man, what's he going to do about this, right? Mm-hmm. So then, when they originally sent Hawkeye and Black Widow to get the Soul Stone,
right?
I was thinking, man, how are they going to do this? Because they're not going to kill them.
Nobody thought about it though. Nobody thought like, hey, if we get the Soul Stone, one of us has to.
No one knew. Only Thanos knew.
That was a great thing that the audience knows. It's audience irony.
Yeah, dramatic irony.
No, but it's not. Is it dramatic irony when the audience knows and only the audience knows?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a dramatic poetic irony that the audience is like, well, someone's gonna have to die, but they don't know.
I didn't think anybody's gonna die. I was like, man, I wonder how they're gonna convince
Are they
us how to
gonna
get
fight like Red Skull?
Yeah, like I
Give
didn't
it to me,
know.
like-
But then when they got there, no, one of them had to die.
They're sitting down there, and
And-
even up until that point, I was like, maybe they'll like shoot an arrow and like
Yeah,
take it
yeah.
or something.
Like
I
that.
Or maybe
really
just the fact that they'll jump and the fact that they tried shows that
Yeah.
they
both tried.
Yeah.
They
Like
both
a Hunger
tried to
Games
basically
kind of thing.
stop each other to kill. So
they won. They're fighting over
they
who
fought-
gets
yes.
commit suicide.
Basically.
Yes.
But
We
I
know
just
for the
thought that
movie.
was so
Rome-
amazing. And it hurt my heart so much that Scarlett Johansson or Black Widow was the one to die.
It makes sense,
because I
though.
just loved this character also. But I thought to myself, like, you know what? She literally has nothing else to live for. Her family is the Avengers.
Yes.
Whereas Hawkeye actually has a real
Yeah.
family that he's waiting to see. But even, Hawkeye was willing to die too because they said whatever it takes. You
And
know?
here's another peppering of the storytellers of where we can get future content. Red Skull tells Black Widow who her father is, and she says, "Oh, I didn't even know who my father was." So that Black Widow movie that's been announced, is it a prequel?
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, he says their name's son of blank, and then he says to her daughter of, and he
Oh,
says a
I didn't
man's
catch
name,
that.
and he says something, and she goes, well, I didn't know who my father was. So now she's discovered something from Red Skull to prove that, hey, yeah, I've been waiting for you. I knew you guys were gonna come.
Right.
But is that gonna play into the Black Widow
Probably.
movie? Is it gonna be a
Probably.
prequel?
I think it's going to be a prequel.
Or is it going to be, maybe something will happen where she'll be able to come back or something like
It's a
that?
prequel.
Yeah.
But I mean, definitely it could be a 5-year thing, But if they mention her father, I think that will play a role in the future movie. So that's them peppering content. So yes, you're back to them jumping. That was a good scene of them. Oh, I'm
Right.
going.
It was
Okay, no,
heartbreaking.
boom, now I'm going.
Yeah.
And then he jumps, and she's like, no, it's me.
It's
like,
heartbreaking, but it
was
also
good.
shows how much they love each other.
Correct.
Like, as friendship-wise,
And
they
how-
have such a great bond, being all the way back from Budapest, right? There was a point where it was such a small scene, but you see Black Widow and Hawkeye in the ship, and they kind of just smile at each other like, hey, we're doing this again. Like, this is my buddy, So it was just heartbreaking to see her die. But again, I thought it was appropriate for the character.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful the fact that they paired everyone off and they put them two together,
Right.
which would make it a sacrifice. If it was
Right.
any other two characters, it'd be like, okay, well, they
Yeah,
don't
no.
they,
It'd
they
be
don't have
awkward.
that connection.
Yeah.
Where it's like, all right, well, you go.
Yeah.
I got my
Right.
own agenda.
Right.
It hurts.
It hurts.
because they died. You're sacrificing your relationship. You're killing your friend.
Well, it says you give up the one that you love, or give up something that you love. That's what Red Skull says. So they really did love each other. Not romantically, but I'm saying friendship-wise.
Yeah.
They have a long bond.
And finally, we have the ether that was in Jane. So Rocket and Thor have to go to Asgard, and Thor just can't handle it. He's still an emotional wreck.
Which,
because
by the
he
way,
knows,
I cannot believe they had Natalie Portman come back for this movie, even if it was
Why
for a
not?
second. No, it was cool. I
It
was
was
just like,
cool.
wow, because she
Again,
wants
though-
nothing to do with the movies. Or at
Really?
least that's
She
what
said
she
that?
said. Or she alluded to the fact that she was kind of done.
yeah, when they fired the original director for
Kenneth Branagh.
Dark World, which was the same director
was
that
it
did
Kenneth
Wonder
Branagh?
Woman.
I don't
No,
know.
it was the director of Wonder Woman.
No, it was not. Patty Jenkins never directed Thor: The Dark World.
She was supposed to.
I think she was
supposed.
supposed to, and they never did.
That's when Natalie Portman said, "This is my last movie with you guys."
I
She was
see.
very upset over that because I guess they have a bond or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
So, well, can I just say I love the fact that Thor remained fat this entire movie?
Yeah.
Like,
Fine
I-
representation for us thick
Because,
boys.
yeah, I feel like I could be a superhero now. I don't have to have an 8-pack to have a superhero. Be a superhero. Like, that was great. And he got to see his mother. He got to be with her.
Great scene.
But I thought it was so amazing that as he's watching her, she's like, oh, I have to go check on something. And then she bumps into him and she's like, I know you're my son, but you're not my son
Yeah.
at this time.
I loved that.
I thought that was so interesting. And again, true to character development, tying the loose ends. He missed his mom so much. The fact that he got to reconnect with his mom, just like Tony Stark got to reconnect with his dad in a weird way. I just thought it was so appropriate for the character.
And it helped accelerate the rebuilding of this broken character. Because
Right.
really, there was nothing else that he had. He
Yeah.
has lost his brother, the Asgardians, his
father.
planet, his home, his father. He's lost everything. what else can rebuild this character
Right.
than his
But
own
his
mother
mom.
saying,
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
me proud.
Yeah.
You know,
There's a small plot hole here that I did not like. Right before he leaves, he calls Mjolnir to him before he goes back to time. He knew his mom was going to die that day, and Thor was going to have to fight the Dark Elves for that movie. What the heck did Thor fight them with then?
I know. It's true.
dude, yeah.
You could drive yourself crazy with these plot holes, man.
Like, he called it, and it was cool, and I was like, yes, he's got his hammer back. But later on, I thought about it, I'm like, he just left his old self defenseless. Because
Yeah.
he wasn't
It's
throwing
true.
around lightning back then. It wasn't until Thor Ragnarok that he really unlocked his God of Thunder powers. So, what happened?
Sign up for Disney Plus platform.
Yeah. Then maybe we'll have Dark World 2 where he's just like
Punching
he goes to
people.
Home Depot before he fights these people. Gets a sledgehammer. Like, I don't even know. But that's why I was kind of pissed. I was like, what is he going to do?
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, dang, man. Like, up until this point.
That was
sure.
fan service. That was definitely fan service. There was no... I think the Russo brothers, like, they knew they had a little wiggle room with this stuff because the whole movie as a whole is so amazing that it really doesn't put a dent in the merit of the movie.
Yeah.
And of course, my other favorite part, where as he's about to leave, his mom, she's like, "Eat a salad."
Yeah.
Like, it was
Don't
such
forget your sweater on.
It
Yeah.
was so emotional, that moment, and it was so like heartwarming. And he's like saying goodbye to his mom, and Mom, I want to tell you something. And she's like, "No, I don't want to know about what happens to me." And as they're saying goodbye, eat a salad.
I packed your
Time has not been good to you.
I packed your angry eyes just in case. Okay, so everybody gets their stones, right? Except the the nebula we left with is not the nebula that comes back.
Oh, gosh. Again, pit in my stomach.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, what is she doing to the time machine? Literally, what is she doing?
Yeah, so they all get back. Tony Stark has created a special Tony Stark gauntlet
Using
that holds
nanotechnology.
that holds the stones, and Hulk steps up to the plate because it's gamma and he's used to gamma.
Can I just
radiation.
say it's amazing the fact that they tied in from Avengers 1, the fact that it had gamma rays.
Right.
The fact that they brought the Hulk in because he's a gamma expert.
Yes.
And now he's the one that's going to snap to bring everyone,
Oh, yeah.
do this all
Yeah.
again because
It was appropriate.
he's the Hulk.
It
Yeah.
was appropriate
The
to
fact
character.
that they can tie all this in
Right.
is freaking the coolest thing ever.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
It
No,
was
that was
really
great.
cool.
It was very
and he's
well
like,
thought out.
and then he's looking at it and he's like, it's like I was made for this.
It was, I love
And
that
to me, it's
line.
almost like I want to see the writer's face as they wrote that.
Yeah.
Because they were probably like just like smirking, like you were. Like,
You're right.
No, definitely. So we have the moment. He puts it on. Everybody's like getting ready. They put on all their helmets, and he's got the shield because they don't know what the heck's gonna happen, right?
He locks all the doors that moment. The crowd
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, whoa! Because
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
just like locking the whole base.
Loved it.
Oh my
And
god.
while they're doing that, Nebula is calling in a tiny version of Thanos' ship. Like, I didn't understand
I don't
that
know
part
how that
because
happened.
it was on their wrists. So what do you attach it to like a handle of the ship, and then the whole ship can come? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know how she brought that whole thing down.
How she brought the ship in.
Everything
Right.
from the past.
You're right. I
yeah.
don't know how they did that.
That because not only did his ship show up,
But his whole army.
yes,
Did his whole... No, he still had his army though.
on the ship. But I
No,
thought
from the present. Present day Thor, present day Thanos is still able to bring.
Oh,
his
I
present-
see. With the portals, that makes sense. Just the ship came from the past, but
Yeah.
the army was still there. So he probably just opened up a portal like he did over New York.
Yeah.
I understand. Okay, that makes a little more sense because I was like, where did all these people come from? Only one ship came through.
Yeah.
But still, I don't know how you get how they got a tiny ship. How they did that with the ship. Anyways,
Yeah.
it's just funny to me. It doesn't ruin the merit of the movie. So Hulk snaps and it almost kills him.
And it almost kills the Hulk. Yeah.
Right? He's all burnt up and he has his arm in a sling later on and stuff like that. But
And you could tell throughout the movie he's pretty much useless.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
He's just holding up the structure, and that's about it.
Yes.
With the other arm.
But
with
he
the
tried to
other
do the
arm.
snap. He tried to do the snap,
He did do the snap.
and it was successful.
But you know what was the perfect thing to show as successful?
What?
That they came around full circle to the cold opening when Hawkeye gets a call from his wife.
Oh, I I loved that.
Yes, and I was like, wow, what a
Yeah.
great way. Because they could have just
Another
shown...
plot hole.
What?
Was he charging her phone for 5 years? like, were you still paying for the phone bill? Like,
Does she remember what happened?
were they using WhatsApp? Like, was it Wi-Fi? Like, was this a Wi-Fi call? I need to know.
That's actually...
How in the world did she run over, like, plug her
That's
phone
true.
in? Like,
Maybe
That's
she... I mean, she could have ran over and plugged her phone. She thought it was
true.
dead. That's true. You know, plugged her
like,
phone in and that's
was
fine.
this the kind of battery that can be turned on the moment you charge
Yeah.
it and it's dead? I
Yeah.
mean, like,
But after 5, you think he would have? You think he still paid
Could've
like
been
his
a house
AT&T
phone.
bill for like the past 5 years? Yeah. seriously.
Why do you have two phones? It's for my wife, you know? Like,
Yeah. That's funny. But no, when I saw that, I was like, what a great way. Because they could have just shown people in New York, like, oh, wow, we're back.
No,
The,
yeah,
the
no, I thought
birds,
so.
though, as well.
The birds
on
wildlife
the tree,
came back.
The wildlife.
But then there's that moment where Ant-Man, another great quiet scene where
Yes.
Ant-Man, he's just walking out, he's just walking towards the window and you hear the birds chirping and you see the ray of sun and he's like trying to discern like, okay, it feels like a different life. It feels like it's different. And then, boom!
Yeah, right.
Thanos just put all these missiles.
Yeah.
A massive explosion. All of Avengers headquarters is destroyed.
Yeah.
I thought
Everyone is
Ant-Man
stuck under a
died
rubble.
at that moment.
I did
Yeah,
too.
yeah, because he got blasted away. Yeah.
Right.
Genius, the fact that he minimized himself the moment the landing
protect
happened.
himself,
Because
right.
the moment you do that, that's
Right.
that's
Yeah.
how he was able to save
Right.
himself. But
So the place gets destroyed, and we are in the third act. We are in the payoff.
The
40
part-
minutes of
Yes.
non-stop action.
The part that you do not get up to pee in.
Yeah. Yeah, do not pee in the third act, like at all. Don't pee in the third act.
Yeah.
So the place gets destroyed. People are drowning. Rhodey and Raccoon are drowning. Hulk's trying to help them out. Ant-Man's like, "I'm coming, guys," and that's where we get that scene from the trailer where he's on the pencil and he dives down. Right.
Yeah.
Everybody's in this rubble, and Thanos sends out his people and said, "Go find me the gauntlet." And what he says, "What are you gonna do?" I'll wait right here, because he knows. that
Again,
they're
an
coming.
amazing villain.
Yeah, he didn't need to go, and he
doesn't
just
have to
like
go.
come. I know they're gonna come to me. I know that they know who I am. They've got beef with me. They're coming for me.
Who has the gauntlet at this point in time? I forgot.
Nobody.
No,
Oh,
somebody had
Hawkeye
the,
finds it. Hawkeye
finds it and he's running. He's running,
Yeah,
right.
Hawkeye
right.
finds it, and he's running because the Chitauri are down there with him, and
Right.
they're coming after him. So,
When he
but
shoots the arrow and sees them all down the tunnel.
out of the
Yes.
entire giant battle, which was of epic proportions the whole time, my favorite part is when the main three go toe to toe
Yeah,
with Thanos.
it was again appropriate to character that
Appropriate.
those three that started in the beginning of the MCU are
yes.
the three to go toe and toe with Thanos.
Yes. So Thor calls in not only Stormbreaker,
Yeah.
but Mjolnir. I don't want to pronounce it wrong.
Mjolnir.
Mjolnir.
With the braided goatee.
His goatee braid.
Yes, he looks
So good.
true till now, like the comics being the
Yes.
Viking
Yes.
thunder
He looked
god.
like
Yes, it was awesome.
He has a gut. He's big. He has his long hair. He has the beard.
Yes,
Like,
it was awesome. It was
He
funny,
was a
but it was
Viking
awesome.
god.
He
Yes.
was a Viking god. He was like Gimli
Yes.
from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
But like Thunder God. Like it was
It
so
was amazing.
freaking cool.
And-
so they go to toe with him, and they don't go
Yes.
one by one. They go together.
I loved
right?
it.
And they're they're going to toe. Some epic things happen, but for me,
Oh,
the
yes.
number one thing
Yes.
is
Yes.
when Captain America
Give it to me.
pick up Thor's hammer.
Yes!
Oh, that
Oh
was
my
look,
God.
look at my arm.
Yes!
The entire crowd was screaming.
I know everybody
You
in
know
my
why?
theater. Oh, freaking
Crying.
out.
It wasn't just the fact that he had it. It was the fact that he was worthy.
And it's a callback to Age of Ultron, where
He almost
everyone's
lifted
trying
it up,
to
yeah.
everyone's trying to lift up the hammer, and then Captain America slightly moves it, and Thor's his eyes open up like whoa, but then he doesn't lift it. The fact that now he can just lift it. And it came to him, like you said, it shows that he is worthy.
He's
the
worthy.
only worthy human on the planet that can
Correct.
do that.
Yeah, he
A
is.
simple human, yeah.
Which
being
proves,
worthy.
again, true to character, his heart is pure.
Yes!
Captain America has a pure heart.
Yes.
And they've actually, there's different theories are jumping around about the fact of why he couldn't lift it before, because
Right.
he's just a pure person.
Right.
One of the theories was interesting, saying that he was holding back and even lying that he knew who killed Tony Stark's
Interesting.
parents.
No, that's interesting.
And the fact that he knew that it was
Could
Bucky.
Could
How
be.
did he know that though? He didn't know that till Civil War.
No, he knew it till the very end.
He knew it. Yeah, he did know.
How did
He
he
knew
know
it.
that in Avengers Ultron when
Sign up for Disney Plus. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. That I don't know. But he was like, remember, Tony turned to Steven and was like, you knew.
And he goes, yeah, I knew.
And he didn't say anything.
But he knew.
If he didn't, he would have said no.
But wait a second. Did Captain America know that Bucky was alive in Age of Ultron?
No.
No, he didn't. He didn't know until Winter Soldier. That debunks that theory.
Yeah,
right
so
there.
whoever wrote that theory.
Well, we need to watch that movie again because there is a clear reason. I know there must have been a clear reason at some point of how Steve found out in that movie in Civil War. I just don't remember.
Yeah, he found out in Civil War. He didn't
Yes, he
find out
found
at
out
the
in
time that he
Civil
was
War.
trying to pick up Mjolnir.
No, he found out in Civil War.
All right,
But-
so debunked.
Debunked.
Oh,
Another
yeah.
one. Send us yours though. Why do you think he wasn't able to lift
Yeah,
it
yeah,
so that we
I
can
want that-
debunk it too?
Yeah,
No, I'm kidding.
no. All right, so he gets the hammer, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
so good.
He goes to town with his hammer.
He knows how to use it perfectly.
Yeah, well,
Well, he's seen Thor
things.
use it a million
No,
times.
that's great. I don't
When
want to
he-
see him learn. I just want to see him use it.
When he throws the shield and then bounces the hammer off of it, and the reverb from the vibranium knocks it, that was amazing.
It was incredible.
And then he calls the thunder.
That way,
He just
Yes!
Wait a second. That is a problem.
Why?
The thunder that Thor and the lightning that Thor produces is not from the hammer. It's from being the god of thunder. So that is a massive mistake on the director's.
know,
director's
But it
part.
was cool.
No, I agree. It was so freaking awesome when he called it from the sky. But while I was seeing it, as somebody who's read the comics almost my whole life, I know that you do not call thunder from the hammer. The hammer can be called to you.
instrument.
It's an instrument. It's a channel that Thor uses through himself.
Mm-hmm.
Captain America cannot call thunder down. Cannot call lightning.
Interesting.
But it was still cool.
It was still cool.
Yeah, it was still
My favorite part of that whole battle was when he's going toe to toe with Captain America. It seems like the tides are being turned, and then you just hear
Yes.
on your left.
on your
Yes.
left, which is a callback to Winter
times.
Soldier.
Winter Soldier, and even Winter Soldier when
When he
Yeah.
was jogging around the
When he was
pole.
jogging
On your
around.
left, right.
Yeah.
which I think was awesome, and then you see all the portals start opening.
Yeah.
Which, again, we could go crazy thinking about this. Where would they go? Where did they get resurrected?
They
In
got
another realm?
resurrected right where they were.
Yeah, he
Because
explained it to
Spider-Man explained it. He's like, yeah, we woke up on the planet and you weren't there. And then
Oh,
Doctor
I
Strange is
see.
like, oh man, we gotta go. It's been 5 years.
Yeah, but not everybody
They need our
died
help,
on the
they need our
planet.
help, which is-
Not everybody died on the planet.
But Doctor Strange doesn't need to be.
Wakanda,
Doctor Strange can literally open a portal and say, you need to come down. And that's it.
Okay.
And everyone, it's not for anything. I think, again, we can. If we explained every single tidbit, the
I
movie would
know.
be 10 hours long.
Right.
But for the sake of storytelling,
Right.
you know, you died fighting someone,
Mm-hmm.
and you wake up, you're alive, and you see a portal open, and you see the guy.
Yeah.
You get up, you're a superhero. You get up, and you're like, round 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's do this, and let's do this right.
It was so good.
So they retained their memories right before they dusted.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
so yeah, because even Spider-Man, Peter Parker remembered the fact that he got dusted. He's
Correct.
like, I turned to dust, and then
Yeah. Which when he hugged him,
Oh.
oh man, when he hugged him and
Yeah.
he got him back, like he's like he
Yeah.
got his son back. That was so cool.
And seeing the crowd absolutely explode, and,
Right.
and another, you know, I would love to see this movie once it comes out on Blu-ray and be able to pause it each time, because one of the things that I hadn't even noticed was the fact that Yondu was there.
Oh, was he?
He was there.
Yondu.
He's back. I don't know
I
how
did
because
not
he
see
died
Yondu
on
at
his
all.
own.
Are you
was
sure
there?
Yondu was there? Yondu died.
Yondu was there.
He never got. Are you sure?
He was. I mean, he was in the edit. I mean, he was in.
I don't know about that.
I was watching a YouTube video of the breakdown, and he was in one of the screenshots.
I don't know about
And
that.
I was like, what?
I
So-
don't think that makes sense.
He was there. Little blue guy. Thing on the
It
top.
could have been another. It's the other blue guy,
What other blue guy?
the one that plays James Gunn's brother.
The one that plays James.
No, but he's not
James
blue.
Gunn's
James
brother.
Gunn's brother isn't Guardians
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
Galaxy.
He's the one that's like
With the crooked
country.
teeth? With the
Yeah,
crooked
he's
teeth?
like
Oh, could
he has
be
a
him.
country accent.
Could be him.
No, but he's not blue. This guy
I
was
thought
blue.
he
It
was-
was Yondu. It was Howard the Duck.
I did see Howard the Duck.
Everybody came back.
I would
Everybody
love
came
to like
back.
sit down and just pause it,
Yeah.
frame by frame, and see all the
Yeah.
different people.
In your theater, which character that came back got cheered the most?
Oh wow, it was probably a mix between Black Panther.
Everyone loved Black Panther in our
When he
theater.
came down, and they gave him a lot of screen time, just like him
Yeah.
coming back. I think
Yeah,
they wanted
he was
it
the
to
first one.
sink
He was
in.
the first one.
Yeah, and he just stood there.
Yeah.
And he
Wakanda
stood-
forever!
And they even did the cheer, the
Yeah.
"No, that!
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
The guy, the people behind me started
Yeah,
chanting
yeah.
it. Yeah,
They did
for
the
us,
whole
for
chant.
me, it was Spider-Man. Spider-Man got the biggest
Yeah.
cheer.
I think I heard Black Panther. Everyone, people behind us were like, Wakanda, Wakanda.
Yeah,
so,
but
you
the
know.
all-around cheer, I think, was for Spider-Man. They were
think
equal,
so?
probably. They were equal, but
Yeah.
definitely those two.
They and I think the Russo brothers know that too, because they give him the most amount of like screen seconds.
Right.
You know, he landed. He was like looking around. He takes off his mask,
Mm-hmm.
which is also nanotech, and he's just looking around at this. And I thought
And the
that was
last one to
amazing.
come in was Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So you have the cheer, it dies down so you can see everything that's happening, and then you have the cheer for Spider-Man, and there's a little break that nobody says anything so everybody can calm down.
Can I just say the least amount of cheers went to Peter Quill? Freaking Star-Lord, dude. I was like,
Everyone's still mad at him.
Everyone's still mad at him.
Everyone's still mad at him. Poor guy.
So the epic battle starts, right? The epic battle of the fates, or these two groups start, right? And everybody's going to town.
Can you imagine?
Everybody
I want
gets
to
their-
edit with that
Yeah,
song
right?
in the background.
Everybody gets their appropriate screen time of they're doing their little move or whatever. In the middle of the battle, we when they start raining down, Scarlet Witch comes back. We talked about that, and he rips her apart.
Right.
He asks them to rain down.
Right.
Then something enters the atmosphere.
I know what it is.
Well, we all did. We saw the movie.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I know where you're going. I know where you're going.
Wait a second, I know this.
It's Captain Marvel.
Oh, no. That's not who I mean, yes, Captain Marvel was coming from the sky, but that's not who I was thinking about. Somebody else comes.
Oh,
that
Rescue.
Totally threw me off guard.
Oh, Rescue?
Well, who's that?
Pepper Potts.
When I saw that, I was like, what?
And they went back to back, and they're like,
And they went
Yeah.
back to back.
Oh my
Yo,
God.
power couple, okay?
Couple goals. Hashtag couple goals.
Yo, if those are my
That's when you
parents,
know you're excited.
if those were my parents, I'd be like, those are the coolest parents of all time. Yeah, it was too much for me to handle. I was not expecting that. And then that scene where, actually, yes, Captain Marvel does step
Captain
in.
Marvel shows up.
Another plot device, which that's my only problem. Not my only problem, but that's one of my problems with this movie. I just don't like. I didn't like Captain Marvel as much as I thought I would as a character. I didn't like the movie. So I thought to myself, maybe she did better in this movie, because I understood she filmed her scenes for Endgame first before she did the Captain Marvel movie. So I'm thinking to myself, like, oh, maybe under the direction of the Russo brothers, maybe it was a little bit better.
She was still very cocky in this movie.
I understand they couldn't make this movie all about her, because, if they made the movie all about her, Thanos and everything would be destroyed in 1 second. And obviously, I know they had to bring her in at certain points. But for some reason, she just did not work for me in every single scene she was in. She only has one face.
Yeah.
She's smug, and smug is cool, but she has no character depth to her
Because Thor's
personality or
smug,
anything.
but she's on a whole nother level
She's
of
on
smug.
a whole nother level of smug that I can't relate to her. Like, I literally cannot relate to her. Love her new haircut, by the way.
Yeah, it was-
Love
she
her
did
new
look cool.
haircut, and I did love that moment where she went toe to toe with Thanos, and he tried to headbutt her, and she didn't flinch. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
But other than that, I just
When she was
didn't-
gonna go somewhere, and Rocket Raccoon's like, "What are you gonna do? Go get another haircut?" I died.
I'm glad though that she's not the one that defeated Thanos.
Yeah.
Like when she headbutted her and then he just took the Power Stone out and like blasted her. I was like, thank you, because not that I just think that this isn't her story.
It's
Not
no.
yet. I know that, and I completely respect her as a character.
Me too.
It's just this story belongs to those who
Yeah.
built it up.
Correct.
Right,
And
right.
the perfect person was Iron Man.
Oh,
Yes.
The
yeah.
perfect person to put the last nail in the coffin
Yes.
was Iron Man.
Yeah.
And the fact that I'm getting like emotional just thinking about it.
Oh,
the
God.
fact that what started this all off was
Mm-hmm.
when he announced the fact that he said, "I am Iron Man,"
Mm-hmm.
and that was his last piece.
Yeah.
You know, Thanos saying, "I am
Inevitable.
inevitable."
Mm-hmm.
Snaps, fails, and this guy's just like, I am Iron Man.
And he
Boom.
said that in the 2008 movie at the end when he announced to everybody, I am Iron Man.
It's the same line.
Yeah, it's the same line.
He paused. He said,
full
"I
circle.
am," and I thought he was gonna say something funny. You know, like
Yeah.
I don't know what he was gonna say.
I didn't know what he was going to say. I was like, what is he going to say? It's going to be like, because again, if you guys listen to episodes 3, 2, and 3, I said multiple times that Iron Man would die.
Oh, you
Yeah,
got
but that's
that
a
one.
50-50 chance.
And no one believed me.
It's a 50-50 chance.
Listen, it's not a 50-50
It's not like calling
It's
out
not
which
a
Avenger's going to
50-50
save
chance.
another Avenger because
It's
there's
not
literally a
50.
30 characters.
Nah, listen. I knew Iron Man was gonna die. I just had a gut feeling. I was like, he has to die. He could have lived in a different timeline. He could have gotten stuck and not existed. Because I did toy with that for a little bit. Maybe he just never he did something in the past and then it ceased to exist. No,
All right.
he died.
What do you guys think about the scene that felt a little forced? Nothing against this. I have no problem with women empowerment. Where all of a sudden,
A-Force?
huh?
A-Force? Is that what it's called?
A-Force?
Yeah, isn't all the girls that come together in that scene?
I don't think so. Not that I know.
I heard it was called A-Force.
Well, I just feel like
Comics.
they're all off in different parts of the battlefield fighting, and then out of nowhere, they're completely next to each other.
Total fan service, but I thought it was cool.
I actually really liked it.
It was cool.
I enjoyed it because
It just didn't make sense to me. Like, wow,
It
you
didn't
guys just
make
left.
sense.
You were punching some dude in the face, and you're like, I'll be right back. I gotta go help my girl out.
Well-
and the girl that they're helping is Captain Marvel, who just blasted
Right,
through
right,
everybody.
right.
Like she just
she needs help.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have been like, dude, okay, cool. I'm gonna go to this.
Yeah, and so they show up to help her, and classic Captain Marvel, I
Right.
don't need anybody,
Right.
and just blast through. Doesn't even stick with the team.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, in that sense, I did like the fact that they're able to conjoin and be like, look at all these female
It was
characters.
cool. It was like all of
That are-
them, which was
And
cool.
that was a
but I was just
wink.
like, man, they left the battle.
Yeah.
and just walked over into
No,
it.
that was a wink to the female audience, I think, because
course,
well,
which
yeah,
is
but
fun.
it's actually been in discussion and interviews where they've asked Kevin Feige, like, "Hey, are we going to have an all-girls superhero movie? Are we? Are we? Are we? Are we? Are we?" So we will probably never get an all-girls superhero Marvel movie, but I think that was intentionally done. Again, fan service to be like, "Hey, we're never going to do all-female Marvel superhero movie, but this is the moment you guys do get." I thought it was cool.
It was a cool scene.
I thought it was really
I
cool.
just in my head, like strategically, I was like, oh, it doesn't make sense to just leave your battle where you are, and
I'm sure
thought it was
if you
cool.
break down like
that's just how I thought it was.
the whole maybe if you're like a general or something and you start you'd be like, okay, there's a lot of flaws in
Yeah,
this, but
yeah.
I mean for the average viewer you'd be like, oh, okay, they all collected
Right.
there and
Okay.
because it happened in Infinity War too.
Yeah.
You know.
So of course, Iron Man, he's dying. You can see that because he's human, he's all destroyed on that
Yeah.
side. Couldn't take the gamma radiation like Hulk did or like
Peter
Thanos
Parker's like
did.
an emotional wreck.
Peter Parker is
We
fitting
won,
that-
Mr. Stark. We
Yeah.
won. We did
Oh,
it. Oh my
God.
god, I was dying. I was like, no.
But you know
no,
what?
no.
The part that broke me actually wasn't that part. The part that I thought was so appropriate, so true to all the characters was when Pepper Potts, she goes to him and she's like, we're gonna be okay. You can rest now.
Yeah.
Those two lines
And that to
hit
me
me like.
But you know what? I guess that makes sense because since the beginning, like I guess in that moment, even though Iron Man died, it was like he finally achieved his self-actualization, of being Iron Man and rectifying everything that went wrong for humanity from the snap. He fixed it. He fixed it.
And from the very beginning, and again, this ties everything. It pays you to have been so invested. Is the fact that Tony always wanted to protect the world. He always wanted to secure the world. Starting from Iron Man 1, when these terrorists use his technology for bad, and he's like, "Oh, there's bad people out there." And to the point that he wanted to put a shield around the world. To the point that he saw when he went through the portal in Avengers 1 and he saw Thanos and he was like, oh my gosh, and he fell back to Earth. And he's like, something's coming, something big is coming. He destroyed that thing that was coming. Since Avengers 1 that he had felt, and always there was this ongoing thing that he couldn't sleep. And he'd always mention in the movies, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't rest. And even in this movie, he emphasized the fact when he was going back and forth in his bed, and Pepper was like, what's going on? And he's like, I can't rest. And it's so in tune with that last line.
Right.
You can rest now.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I broke down. I was like, no.
So Now
from
we
the
get.
beginning. I'm sorry, but just to say, from the beginning of Iron Man 2008 to now, all the different facets of Iron Man's or Tony Stark's personality, it's changed throughout the years, and he's probably one of the most developed characters in all of cinematic history.
Okay.
I would say, like, just to the personality, he's changed and evolved so much. Incredible character from beginning to end.
So then we get this scene of his funeral. And what a great scene where they pan through everybody that was a key factor. There's music, nobody's talking, they're all just in
Can I say quietest theater I've ever seen that had just been so loud.
Besides all the sobbing.
Some girl in our theater, some girl legit was crying out loud. She was like,
yeah, it was that a little annoyed me a little bit. I'm like, if you're gonna cry, that's cool, but don't be like.
No, there was such a dead silence in the theater,
and they just pan through everybody. Everybody, you got the Guardians are there, and Gamora, and and then they had that kid from Iron Man 3 who was there.
Iron Man 3, he was there, and that's been confirmed. It's been confirmed that who knows what the future may hold. It was confirmed that it was him.
Yeah.
But again, you can piece together, and it leaves a door open for, is he going to be a young Iron Man? Because A, Tony Stark left him with the suit. B, the kid repaired it with his own little tools, so you could tell he's already he's a gifted genius.
Yeah.
So, it leaves a door open there to the fact that did they stay in touch? There's a lot of space. Did they stay in touch? Yeah. Did he continue to develop the technology on his end? Did Tony Stark leave him a package? Mm-hmm. All those things that maybe can be explored in future movies.
Yeah, if Tony had the foresight to leave a message for his family knowing he might die, did he have the foresight to have a backup protocol for somebody else to take up the reins? Mm-hmm. Possibly. So it just doesn't mean there might not be another Iron Man movie. There might not be a Tony Stark behind the suit Iron Man movie.
So sad.
So, that scene was great. I really liked that. He had a very simple funeral, like just some flowers.
It was beautiful. But they did more in Scarlett Johansson's death.
They did.
Yeah, but funeral, that could be on the cutting room floor for all we know.
It could be.
It could be because it's two scenes that are very similar.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you give more weight to another? They did address it as well when Vision.
They addressed it. No, they
Vision
did.
and Hawkeye were able to talk about it.
Right.
And she's like,
Vision.
They know. Not Vision, I'm sorry.
Hulk.
When Scarlet, Banner, and
he takes
Thor.
the bench and throws it into
Banner and Thor.
No.
Hawkeye, Banner, and Thor.
At the very end, they're both looking at the lake. This was after that whole scene.
Right.
Scarlet Witch and Hawkeye.
And Hawkeye were able to talk about it, and she's like, I can feel it, because obviously she has that connection with the stones.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really interesting in the fact that, those souls really those are the two people, Gamora and Scarlet Witch, which were trapped in the stone, that she can still feel their soul.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty neat.
And then we get to Cap. So Cap is tasked with going back in time and getting rid of all the stones, right? So he has this little moment with Bucky, and we were friends, and it's been great. Mm-hmm. And this from a previous episode where Maui and Media Mike 100% called what was going to happen. Captain America, which here's another sprinkle from the storytellers of future content. Probably we might not. This is not the last time we might see Captain America, because you could have all the years in the past. Goes back in time with Thor's hammer,
right?
But does not return with it. So maybe he put Thor's hammer back in Asgard.
Oh
my God!
That way,
how many pin particles did he have? He was
like
boom, boom, boom.
Those little pills with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
What are we doing today, boys?
Yeah. So he goes back in time, and then he doesn't come back. Mm-hmm. And Media Mike and Maui called that he was going to stay back in time, and he was going to have the last dance with this girl. And I was very shocked by that. When we were in the theater, I elbowed you, and I was like, you called this. Oh, my God, you called this. So when they were looking, and you saw Rhodey was looking, I thought maybe, like, Captain America had carved into a tree or something like that, but no.
Or left a letter or
something, but no, he was there sitting on the lake.
And he was old.
But he looked
hot. He looked like Clint Eastwood. Just to say.
Yes. Okay. Sure. I'll take your word for it.
I mean, it was good that he was a good-looking old man and not like some raggedy, Dumbledore-looking guy.
Yeah. Yeah, and here's the part I thought where
He was clean cut and everything. I
Yes,
liked
he
that,
was.
here's the part where I thought Bucky was gonna become Captain
Yeah.
America.
No,
I
me
didn't.
too.
That part I did not prefer.
Really?
You know what though?
I wanted Bucky to be Captain America.
Listen, this
I
scene.
wanted them to pass the torch to him.
Nah, the scene needs more diversity. I'm
Yes.
totally down.
No, I
Falcon
know
being
why.
Captain America is cool, but my only thing is Falcon gonna get some serum in him? Because Captain America,
That's true.
Captain America the shield was great, but it was wielded by a superhuman.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
is Falcon gonna go through some kind of process? I mean, he did work in this movie. He came down to that ogre and he stabbed his
Yeah.
wings into it. So he's gonna
a
be
great
like
fighter.
He's
Yeah.
gonna be like a flying Captain America, like Iron Eagle or something like that. Like I don't know.
And by the way, the scene was done very well because when Steve gives the shield to oh my god,
Falcon.
to Falcon, he holds it and he's like, "No, this doesn't feel right." And then he actually looks at Bucky, and Bucky kind of like nods his head, almost telling the audience in a way like, "Hey, no, we're okay with this.
Yeah.
Like, this is okay. This is appropriate." You know.
Yeah.
I still just personally, it nothing to do with diversity. I just think it still should have been to Bucky. Since that was his best friend growing
Uh-huh.
up, I still think
That's true to the comics,
However, Bucky did a lot of terrible things with his life, so
Yeah.
maybe he's not worthy.
I think maybe in the
So-
future we might have like I don't think Falcon is at a level, at least right now, where he could go on missions alone as Captain America.
I don't think
might
so
see a lot of
either.
both.
We might have like a Bucky Falcon buddy cop movie.
They are. It's a show on Disney.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
it
gonna be a
is.
Disney Plus. It's called Falcon and
it's
Winter
up-
Soldier.
it's-
Yo, I
Winter
should
Soldier.
write these things for a living. Dang, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's gonna be interesting because maybe that show will help see the development of him into the new Captain America, and who knows, they'll continue having Captain America big screen movies. I definitely think that the Disney Plus is going to do with the TV shows what they haven't been able to do with
Right.
like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.,
Right,
Agent
right,
Carter,
right.
which is like these series that they try to tie in and really more it's just Easter eggs. I think it's going to be this kind of like what Clone Wars is for Star Wars, which is this is everything that happens in between these two movies.
Yeah, yeah.
And just the fact that when Steve Rogers gives the shield to him, and you see that moment that he has a ring on his finger.
Yeah.
You know, that moment to me, it just meant so much for this character. It just I just love this character so much, and I thought to myself, like, you know what? Of course, I don't want to see Captain America or rather, I don't want to see his story end. However, if they have to end his arc, this is the absolute best way to end his arc. Because Steve Rogers didn't have a life, a real life. At least in contrast with Iron Man, Tony Stark, he had a life. You know what I'm saying? He had a love interest. He ended up having a kid. He got to party and do things and all that kind of stuff. Steve Rogers literally missed, 70 years, 50 years of his life? He didn't get a chance to experience what everybody else was experiencing, and he lived a life of pain.
Yeah.
He lived a life of a lot of pain and resentment that he missed all those years. So the fact that he got to go back, be with Peggy, the movie ends with him dancing with Peggy.
Yes.
And you can only imagine when you saw that ring, I got a flashback of all these things of what he probably went through. He got to propose to her. He got to marry her. He got to probably have kids with her. Which again, plot hole, if he had kids with her, what about that girl that Steve Rogers fell in love with that was a part of S.H.I.E.L.D. that was Peggy's...
He didn't fall in love with her.
Or was it
He
Peggy's
kissed. He
niece?
kissed her.
Or was it daughter?
It was
or
a-
something
it was
like
a
that?
niece.
Okay, then forget it then.
Yeah.
So I just loved that.
But another great storytelling thing that they did, we ended this entire thing with the first Avenger.
Yes.
The last scene was the beginning person that was in the timeline of things.
Right.
The first Avenger.
It was great. It was absolutely great. And I hope, please Disney, please make more movies of at least Captain America going back in time. Because he didn't stop being Captain America.
Or just being that
he didn't
back then.
stop.
Yeah.
I want to see him in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and then today.
101.5.
Yeah, so many feels. I don't know where I am with this movie still, but it's all good.
Okay,
things.
so spoiler rating.
The same.
10.
10.
10 out of 10.
10? I don't know.
10
10 out of 10.
I don't know how I'm
10.
going to feel about this movie yet in the future. I don't know.
Yeah?
I just love it.
All right, let me ask you something. Is Thanos the greatest superhero villain of all time?
Superhero or just villain?
Superhero villain, like superhero movie villain of all time.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I'll go on the record and say that he's he has entered the Hall of Fame of villains with Hannibal Lecter, Darth Vader, the pigs from Animal Farm.
Pigs from Animal Farm.
They're in my personal Hall of Fame of villains. Okay. Communism? Come on.
We know Riot's read at least one book. Okay, well, I'm glad you said that Thanos is your favorite villain. I'll be right back.
What's going
Is
on?
Thanos really your favorite villain of all time?
Now he is. Honestly, he's par and par with Darth Vader. Because Darth Vader is, again, the culmination of what is villainry. I mean, even in cinematic history, he's one of the first villains that has still left a mark. Think of an older villain in cinematic history. I mean, you have, like, the devil and, freaking...
He's next to the devil.
Darth Sidious is like
This
the
is
devil.
your anniversary.
Dog! Dog! What?
We got you this.
Oh man, bro, it's gonna go on my nightstand.
For those of you at home, I bought Riot a giant statue of Thanos.
God, 1 to 10 scale pre-painted. Oh man, hold up, I need to see him. I need to see this beautiful person. Listen, again, I always gravitate towards villain because I always want to know like what broke them, what made them what they are. What kind of what brought them to the point that they are today? Superheroes, you could always be good. You could always want. to be, I feel like natural tendencies is good, but like a villain and a good villain.
Just over
what makes what makes a superhero movie a good superhero movie is a good villain. Yeah. Thank you. I almost kept it for myself. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you, Brenton and Maui, for awesome gifts and. Continuing to stroke my obsession with villains.
Yes. All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in to the spoilers review of the Geeky Robots podcast, episode 5. We love talking about this stuff. The movie was epic. See it at ASAP. Well, actually, if you've seen it, watching this, you have seen it. So see it again ASAP so we can give Disney as much money as possible so they can continue to make awesome content like this.
And we'll be talking about this for a long time.
Oh, yeah. we're going to come back to Endgame. A lot of the times because we'll be comparing stuff to it in the future and so forth. So thank you guys. We love you. Please leave comments. I've been looking in the comments and I don't see comments, so I'm a little upset. So please comment. Please comment because you're hurting my feelings at this point. So
I'll give each person that comments $1.
Ooh, $1. Dollar make you holla.
Just kidding, I'm not.
All right, guys. You know the code GeekCast for listening this far. 20% off. 25% off.
Whatever you guys want.
Yeah, you'll see it if you actually listen and put it in. You'll know the percentage that's off.
Is it 18%?
Yeah.
Is it 100%?
Oh my gosh, who knows? We may change it. You might as well try it out. All right, guys. Take care. Stay geeky. Bye.
Bye.
You are now listening to the Geeky Robots podcast.
Great Scott!